Hello and welcome to round 2 of the Elite Racing Association E90 Euro series. Today we are at the Marina Bay Street Circuit in Singapore and it will be a night race. So we got these BMW E90s, touring cars, close but very competitive racing, and on this street circuit it's going to bring up a lot of surprises.
Yep, we've got a few new names up at the top of the list, like Lee Palmer, racing for Zanovi, and Gary Lennon second. But I might as well mention that Lee Palmer's teammate for this race is Tom Ely, who was one of the quickest last week at Snetterton. So they'll be looking for a good result.
We might also introduce ourselves.
That's probably a good idea. So yeah. I'm John Munro, your commentator for tonight, and alongside me is Bradley Vanian.
Yeah, hello. So we've had a few drivers. What you've already mentioned about Lee Palmer. He was sort of on his own for round 1, but he will be racing with Tom Ely for Zanovi SR. We also have Corey Linton. He's racing for his own team, SCDC. And we've also got another new team, which is Walk Racing. Karamadaro Bogdan and Flori Kalin will be racing for that team. However, they don't actually have their own livery so far. So we're just watching one of the THR cars. It is... oh god, I can't even tell now.
Most likely going to be Wiesenmuller or... I can't even think now. Chris Butcher or Robert Wiesenmuller.
It is Wiesenmuller.
Okay, we should probably apologise. We should probably apologise for the hectic start, running a bit late, so we had a bit of problems starting the stream.
Yeah.
But hopefully we're up and running now.
Okay, so you can just see these ones. You got these very high and annoying curves. People are not happy with these curves at these tracks. You got these little anti-cuts on the inside of most of the curbs. These little yellow anti-cuts. You can just see these ones are running over them there, while behind Van der Velde.
Yep.
Hey.
So we might as well go through the driver standings. Just after round 1 at Snetterton last weekend, it was brilliant racing actually. Really was exciting stuff. And we had 3 different winners from 3 different races. I can just find the driver standings, which will take me about 5 seconds. But yeah, it was. I remember Robert Rees, probably one of the highlights of the first race was probably the most exciting. We had Eric Tveit and Tommy Oyala having a massive fight for the lead with maybe 4 overtakes in 4 corners. I think I lost my voice a little bit there. And also we had Robert Wiesenmuller going for the a do or die move in the last turn of the last lap for the win, which didn't quite pay off. But Eric Tveit won that race. But looking at the driver standings, Chris Butcher for THR is in front on 53 points. He grabbed a first, a second and a third in the 3 races at Snetterton. Eric Tveit, the winner of race 1, is in second. And Robert Wiesenmuller is sitting third on 42 points. Tom Ely, who was very quick at Snetterton but didn't quite have the race consistency, if I can remember, has 40 points in fourth. And then there's a big gap down to Benjamin Lindstruzer with 29 points, who had a good debut in the series.
Yeah, it was a very good event for THR in general, but Ice Cold, they weren't far off. Be interested to see if Ice Cold can maybe just do slightly better. Maybe Gary Lennon maybe getting a few podiums. Eric Tveit trying to win more than 1 race, and maybe even Mike Bell getting a couple of top 10s.
Yeah, it looks. I think their qualifying was the problem from last weekend, because they qualified for the first race 5th and 7th, which for them you might say that's a good result with the competitive field, but it's not. I think those guys would be expecting to be consistent in the top 5, or well, definitely consistently in the top 8, but maybe more expecting a bit more from qualifying. But it didn't matter too much because they found themselves in 2nd and 3rd on the first lap of the first race. So if they can get qualifying sorted out, and Eric, we saw last week from Eric Tveit, had a fantastic race pace, and he really kept his tyres well, and we saw that in the first race win where he passed Tommy Oyala with a couple of brilliant moves, and then he literally just drove away from Robert Wiesenmuller, who we were expecting to, I was expecting to win the race after the first lap shenanigans with Tom Ely and Chris Butcher. And then Wiesenmuller only caught up in the last corner, and even then he didn't really have a chance. But he went for a do or dive move, which is, some would say he should regret it, but it's he's a racing driver. He's going to want to do anything he can to win the races. But we'll see if he plays it any differently tonight. See if he goes for any do or die moves, or he maybe just takes the points. It'll be interesting to see, because he is looking quick here.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about THR and Ice Cold, but they are not the only top competitors. We've got Zanavi, Tom Ely, and Lee Palmer, even though I can't see Tom Ely practicing right now. And then we also have ADR, Van der Velde and Van der Venne. They had some, well, they had a disappointing event in round 1 due to some lap 1 collisions, but they had good pace. Other drivers had good pace. Benjamin Lindstruzer, he's racing on his own. He's currently 8th in practice.
Yep, and sorry, looking at the top 3 actually in practice, it's only, it looks, is that 12 thousandths of a second covering the top 3. Lee Palmer for Zanavi, a new team, doing a great job, fastest in practice so far, and he's only 6 thousandths ahead of Chris Butcher, who is in turn 6 thousandths ahead of Gary Lennon. So that's 3 different teams, 3 different drivers, all with different driver qualities, all unbelievably quick drivers, and they're covered by 12 thousandths of a second, and that just shows you how competitive the series is.
Yeah, and just watching on board with Chris Butcher, so he can just show us around this tight street circuit. We're just getting ready for a lap. He's just going underneath the grandstand, through the chicane, hitting the bumps, getting very close to the wall, and now through this final chicane towards the final 2 left-handers, which are taken at a very high speed. You'll want to use quite a lot of the track on the exit as well. So here you can see Butcher hitting the apex on both times, using a lot of the track on the exit, actually clipping the wall, which unsettled his car onto the main straight. Now go right to the right side. You want to shorten the radius of this corner as much as possible. Take as much of that curb as possible, well, as legally allowed, and then exactly the same for this corner as well. Now you got this slight left kink into a slight left kink, and then it's a medium speed right-hander with a wall right on the exit. So if you miss the apex the tiniest amount, you can hit that wall, and also that is one of the most important corners of the track in my opinion, because you got this straight with that kink in where it's one of the main overtaking opportunities into this tight left-hander. Would you say the same?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the main overtaking opportunities. You've got a massive run from the turn before as Chris Butcher bends it into the wall. Oh dear, hoping not to do that in the race, but yeah, that's probably the main, I'd say the main overtaking place on the track. You've got a massive straight with it's got a right-hand kink in it, but we can see incidents also in that straight. I remember I had an incident in the SRO Championship one fighting for second. Because of the kink, it can force drivers, if they're not looking in their mirrors, if there's another man behind them with a slipstream, there can be contact through that kink, and we've seen it before, and can cause some controversy, but we're kind of hoping not for that. And after the long straight, you've got a tight left-hander, which drivers will be hoping not to cut, because we've seen a few penalties for cutting because of the yellow anti-cuts. You can gain advantage from that, so we're hoping they won't do that, but you do see some good moves into their side-by-side racing.
Yeah, and we were just watching Chris Butcher crash at turn 8. Now normally on the Formula 1 layout, the cars would turn right at that corner, but this is the shorter version, the touring car layout, where instead of going right, you go left at the crossroads and then go towards the final sector, so you miss out corners such as the triple chicane, which is called the Singapore Sling, and then also the long back straight. We saw Schumacher going into Vern this year. Well, not this year,
for the second year in a row. For the second year in a row, Schumacher went urban in that turn, but it looked like Chris Butcher was thinking he was on the F1 layout there instead of the WTCC one, turning the wrong way. But we're following him now, and he's just coming into the chicane, so we might as well finish the lap. With Chris Butcher, if we can go on board with him. He's now going through the left-hander, and that's the right-hander. I think that's the final chicane in the circuit. Before this one, it's kind of it's 2 chicanes in quick succession as Chris Butcher gets in the anti-cut and spins it. Oh dear.
Please, Chris, we're trying to make it the broadcast better. Please stop
Commentator's
spinning.
curse. Commentator's curse on Chris Butcher here. That's a couple of mistakes he's made in these laps, so obviously doesn't know he's being recorded, but I'm sure he'll have a laugh when he watches that back later on. They come around the final turn there and on to start his lap over the line, and as Bradley was saying, you want to be as wide over as possible and really just make this corner as straight as possible to get a good run into the next one. But that's almost a lap of Singapore, maybe missing out a couple of turns in the middle. But it's a 17 corner course, so it's quite a lot of overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, you obviously turn 1 and turn sort of 2/3. You can go side by side. You maybe try and get an undercut, and then turn 4, 5, which we're just watching Chris go through now. Again, another prime overtaking opportunities, but I think drivers would rather stay behind a car into turn 4 and 5, and then go down the straight through the kink, and then overtake into this tight left-hander, which is turn 7. Be very careful on the curbs on both the entry and the exit of the corner. Turn 8, you've got to be very careful. Again, so you can see Butcher just clipping the wall on the exit. And then you've got this sort of turn 9 and turn 10 where you gotta sort of brake and turn at the same time and suddenly sweep straight back to the right. It's a very tough set of corners. Now you go into this grandstand and underneath the grandstand actually. You want to get a very good exit out of the corner. You don't want to sacrifice the corner too much though. Just seen Butcher. Who's he? Well, he's
Gloria Cal in front of him.
Yeah, that's the new Walk Racing driver. There are 2 Romanians in Walk Racing today.
Yeah, Kargadaru Bogdan and Flora Callan.
Yeah, and that is a lap of Singapore, so good lap. Well, it was an okay lap from Butcher, but Palmer has been first in practice for the last half an hour. Be interested to see if he can replicate that in the 10-minute qualifying session for race 1.
Yep. So, sorry about the confusion from the last event if you were tuned in. We weren't sure if it was Super Pole, and there was a bit of confusion in the rules about the warm-up lap, but I can confirm it's not Super Pole and there is no warm-up lap. So, as soon as the qualifying's finished, there will be a 30-second wait and then we'll be straight into the action, which would be nice for us to know this time. And no Super Pole, so 10-minute qualifying session with unlimited amount of laps.
There is warm-up, it's just there's not a formation lap, isn't there?
Oh yeah, sorry, there's 5 minutes of warm-up, or a couple of minutes of warm-up, and then into the race, so not straight from qualifying.
Yeah. But there's no formation lap.
The thing I like about this circuit actually is it's different to the Snetterton, because with Snetterton we had the long straights into slow speed corners, and a few kind of long sweeping high speed corners. With Singapore, it's mainly medium speed corners. I mean, you've got a lot of chicanes, but you're not going fast into them, so you're not needing to brake quite as much, which makes it different to Snetterton, where we raced at last weekend. And the track is quite a lot shorter here, with lap times of around about the 1:30 range, just under, where Snetterton was just under the 2-minute range. So the laps are they're a quarter shorter than Snetterton.
And something I've just noticed is that we haven't seen 2 drivers, which are Tommy Ojala and Eric Tveit, actually do any major laps so far. Oh, as we see Butcher
crashing over the line.
Yeah, but I was just so you know the picture that you can now see on screen, that is Eric Tveit and Tommy Ojala leading the race at race 1 at Snetterton. Tommy Ojala can't seem doing any practice right now. Eric Tveit, I think he's starting to prepare for practice, and from what I've heard recently, he has been able to do 27s. However, I doubt he'll be able to replicate that today.
We have to wait and see. But only 1 minute to go to qualifying now, and it's going to be interesting to see if the new team in Avia Racing can untie THR Stranglehold, and obviously THR aren't the only guys, because we've got Ice Cold, obviously very quick, and ADR will be looking to bounce back from their slightly disappointing Snetterton result, but they've looked quick ever since.
You say about Zanavia that if they're going to beat THR, we're watching a Zanavia and THR battle.
Wiesen Muller and Palmer. Oh, Wiesen Muller's hit there. I was looking forward to that one. But as Lee Palmer slides the car through.
See, Palmer was actually using a lot of the curb on the inside. Again, a lot of the curb, so this is probably why he's so quick. He's using a lot of the track, which you've got to do.
Hopefully he's within the rules though.
Oh, look how close he is to that wall. I'm surprised the wing mirror isn't off.
Yeah, so now 5 seconds to go before the cars all jump back to the pits and we go into qualifying. So Bradley, do you want to make a prediction for what's going to happen in qualifying?
I'm going to say Chris Butcher pole.
Yeah. I mean, I would disagree to be interesting, but I'll probably have to say the same. But I think I will be interesting, and I'm gonna say Gary Lennon, because he's looked quick, but he always seems to have good pace. Gary Lennon just never seems to get it together in qualifying. But he's a fellow Scottish driver, so I'm rooting for him for pole. And we seem to be cutting to qualifying right now. So this 10-minute session will start in about 30 seconds, and we'll have drivers going out on track. And they can do an unlimited amount of laps, or they will have to do an out lap. And I don't think they'll have to do an in lap because you can jump back to the pits. But they will definitely have to do an out lap where they'll be warming their tyres and their brakes, making sure everything's at the perfect temperature. Oh. As we see, JJ Wang and David Carter are going to be first out the pits. And will they go past the red light? No, they won't. They're going to wait for the green light. So that's very good.
Yeah, we've also got Van der Venne. He's got red rims, while his teammate Van der Velde, who just pulled up alongside him, has got black rims.
Lee Palmer comes doing a bit of parking there, trying to jump the queue. And the green light goes on for qualifying, so we are out of the pits and onto their outlaps. And there'll be a big train of cars, and because there's unlimited amount of laps, they're going to try and get out as early as possible to get in the banker laps. So these won't necessarily be the quickest. As we see, Benjamin Lindström are having a mismatch, so I'm not sure if the server allows for mismatches, but we'll have to wait and
won't
see.
be allowed.
So Lindström are having a slight issue there, as we watch the cars on their outlap.
So look at this, we've got 5 cars. Oh, and look at that, was that Butcher getting loose?
Yeah, as Palmer passes David Carter.
Yep, and we've also got ADR fighting behind and collecting the wall as well. They're going pretty wide. They're going pretty wide. This is quali, guys. Oh, boom! And cars went off.
Yeah, just letting everyone pass. I think. I mean, this isn't just fun race. These guys are fighting for track position, so it's obviously a little bit of fun. But they don't want to damage the cars because it will waste valuable time in qualifying. And also, they're going to want to find the biggest gap to the drivers. So maybe the slower guys are going to let the quicker guys through before the lap, so they don't hold them up. As David Carter pulled off to let the top guys like Chris Butcher through there. So you'll have everyone spreading out a bit and giving themselves a lot of track space. But that can be an issue in qualifying if someone spins at the chicane.
So who should we watch for? Oh,
why don't we go on board with David Carter?
Sorry, yeah, we got more cars fighting for track position, but who should we watch?
Why don't we follow David Carter? Why don't we follow David Carter for Surreal Illusions?
Okay.
As Wiesenmuller pulls over there to pit on in his outlap, so he's obviously going to have to do another one, unless he was waiting for track space. We're going to have to wait and see. But as Carter starts his hot lap, let's see how he can get on.
It's interesting to see the comparison between Butcher and Carter. It's interesting to see how much track they use. So you can see Butcher was a lot further on that right side into turn 1, and yeah, Carter not using as much of the track on the entry and the exit. Oh, this feels really mean now. It feels like I'm actually sort of criticising him.
No, but we know how quick Chris Butcher can be, so that lap was quick. So and David Carter is still doing a good job as he heads down now towards the 90-degree left-hander, and then there'll be another left-hander to follow. This lap looking steady so far. He's looking like he's nailed all his apexes, etc.
Don't jinx it.
Not too extravagant, but I'm not going to say anything more, as I've jinxed it. David Carter gets really sideways out of that second left-hander, which is going to cost him half a second. But now heading into this trail braking right here, into another chicane. There's a lot of chicanes in this track, actually. As Carter, he runs a bit wide on entry, but he's got it together for the exit.
Yeah, meanwhile,
heading under the grandstand.
Stephen Kelmy and, Stephen
side by
Kelman
side with Wiesenmuller.
Oh.
So, Robert Wiesenmuller obviously lifting off to give himself track space there, and finding Stephen Kelman in his wake, but that's sorted out. Wiesenmuller has got ahead of him, so we'll see how Wiesenmuller's lap goes, but that might have cost him, might have gained him from slipstream. We'll have to wait and see. As David Carter comes around the final turn as the first lap.
Meanwhile, we got some times already. Daniel Blanco, not 29.1. Carter 6th, 32.6. Wiesenmuller 3rd. Got one of the ADR cars in 2nd. It's impossible for me to tell without actually checking. As Carter
yeah, Van der Venne. It's Van der Venne in 2nd. Wiesenmuller 3rd. Van der Venne with a 29.6, so that's a solid lap time. Benjamin Lindström does a 26.7, and Lennon's beaten that. My man for pole position, Gary Lennon on a 128.7, so that's a reasonable time, a good banker lap. As Chris Butcher does a 128.3. Lovely time by Chris Butcher. We missed that, unfortunately, but we did watch it. I think we saw enough of him in practice. But that was a great lap by Chris Butcher.
So, right, I don't even know who to watch currently, because we got so many people getting times in.
Eric Tveit
during this run.
Eric Tveit on his hot lap, so we might as well follow him as he comes into one of the last two chicanes, the left right and then the right left, as Tveit gets a bit sideways.
I'm trying my best.
19th position Bradley, as he's coming around the final chicane now, heading towards the final turns, and that's two left-handers, so what's Eric Tveit going to do? We didn't see much of him in practice. I think he joined late on, but he's going to put on his first lap here. He was very quick in the SRO Championship here, actually. I remember him being the quickest. As Tveit is coming across the line, and even if you can't see him, he goes second on a 120.
No, I can't find him at all. I don't.
128.6 as he jumps up to second. So sorry you couldn't see him there, but he's in second place. So that's Eric Tveit for Ice Cold, just ahead of Gary Lennon and his teammates.
Yeah,
so they're second and third.
Gary Lennon, he's in the final sector. He's currently in third.
As Wiesenmuller does a 28.2. So Robert Wiesenmuller's taken pole position provisionally. So that's a great lap by him.
Yeah, James Johnson, 30.0. I don't think he'll be too pleased with that. He needs to be helping Wiesenmuller and Butcher.
Gary Lennon hits the wall on the exit of the last turn. as he comes across the line to 128.4, so that's put him up to third.
Oh, what? Well, you think he could have split the THR guys if it wasn't for that last corner mistake?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it lost him too much time, but he definitely was going quickly through the turn. So
yeah. We're just watching Butcher going through the first few turns while Wiesemuller is now behind him on track.
And Butcher's done a 128.1. Chris Butcher, fantastic time. That's quicker than we've seen in practice.
Yep. So let's just have a quick rundown of the grid. We've got Butcher, Wiesemuller, Lennon, who's just gone back on track. Eric Sveit is in fourth. He hasn't done much practice sort of in the last hour, but he has done quite a bit in the last few days. He's just coming around the final two corners. Let's see what he can do. It is a 28.3. He beats his teammate by a tenth, but he is unable to beat the two THR teammates.
At the moment, they are coming in couples at the moment.
Yeah, so we've got Lennon in fourth now, with Lindstruser in fifth. Good performance by Lindstruser so far.
Danny Blanco up to fifth now in the other independent. So we've got two THR cars first and second with Butcher and Wiesemuller, and then Tveit is ahead of Gary Lennon third and fourth, and then we've got independents with Daniel Blanco, Benjamin Lindstruser, Rhys Gardner, who's making a good debut in the series, and David van der Venne.
Yeah, that's a very good performance from Rhys. He's racing for Curb Hoppers Racing.
We can't forget about Lee Palmer as well, who's on a hot lap now, and he was very quick in practice. He was set the quickest time. Over the anti-cuts there, but not too badly.
Van der Venne has gone into, well, Van der Venne has gone into 8th position, just ahead of James Johnson, who's in 9th. Karamadari Bogdan in 10th, and Zhuenzhen Wang in 11th as he avoids, I think that might be Harry Calvez.
And Stephen Kelman up to 14th with a good time of a 131.5. He'll be delighted with that. Quicker than he was going in practice, so he's into the top 15. Ahead of Mike Bell and David Carter. Mike Bell's coming to end his lap right now, coming around the final turn, and he'll be hoping to improve.
Yeah, just
sorry if the cameras aren't keeping up with me.
No, we got him.
And it always run wide, he's into the wall.
Oh, not Jonathan Palmer, Lee Palmer, second.
Lee Palmer's up to second, he's split the THR guys. He's gone 1/10 ahead of Robert Wiesemuller, so Lee Palmer up to second. We said we should watch him, and we were right. As Mike Bell always spins it through the first turn, so that's that lap gone.
And Van der Velde has had a poor qualifying so far. 80th position. He's going to improve, he's just on track now. Going through the grandstand. Hits the apex on the inside. Doesn't go too far wide, so you need to hit the apex at the second part as well. As David Carter moves up to 14th place, just ahead of his teammate Matt Richards. And, Van der Venne 9th, Lindstruser 7th, so Lindstruser dropped back. Daniel Blanco making his, this... Okay, so he moved himself into 14th position. Let's just look further back. We already said about Carter, Richards, Stephen Kelman, he's qualified in 17th. Oh, we got
Mike Bell down in 18th. Oh, he's hit David Carter! Oh, massive crash there. I don't know if you cut to Mike Bell in time, but he just went straight in. He was spinning across the track, and David Carter collected him heavily. So that's a big crash there for the Ice Cold driver and the Surreal Illusions driver.
Okay, and then we have Alejandro Fernandez in 19th. Oh, and who's that? It's Gary there. Gary Lennon? No, it's Rhys Gardner in 7th position. So he's also moved up ahead of Lindstruser. So Lindstruser, he was 5th earlier, but he's now down to 8th. Grid position getting more crucial. Then we see Jonathan Orcliffe in 20th position, just ahead of Eric Alves in 22nd, and Kyle Young in 23rd.
So 30 seconds to go in qualifying. Can we see any drivers improve?
We've got Palmer in 2nd position out, but Butcher on pole position is not. Oh, but
Palmer's run wide. Oh dear, that's going to cost him, unfortunately.
Problem.
Does sound like it a little bit.
Yeah, Palmer's engine is sort of blowing up. It doesn't make much of a difference currently. As we see Van der Venne moving up into 12th position, so he's slowly moving his way up the field. Oh, and did Palmer just quit the lap?
Yeah, it looks like it. But so that's settled. But it looks like Mike
Oh.
Bell is down in 18th, and it just looks like he messed up that corner, so he might not
Yeah.
be improving on this lap.
So we
Oh,
got,
and he's not.
sorry, I was just saying that Eric Tveit, who's a lot more important than Mike Bell currently, moved up into 4th position. Wiesmuller is also on track and he's in 3rd position. Can he dethrone his teammate Chris Butcher? We shall see.
Yep. He looks like consistently through Snetterton and the circuit. He looks like he's been maybe a 10th behind Chris Butcher per lap, but you never know what can happen. Also, the drivers need to be careful because I remember from an experience in SRO where a driver span in one of the chicanes, and the fastest driver on a really hot lap collected him and ruined his lap. But hopefully that won't happen to any of these guys. As Robert Wiesenmuller's got a bit of traffic with JJ Wang, but we'll see as he comes across the lap.
And talking about fast drivers, we've just seen Reece Gardner move into 6th position. Well, we haven't seen him, but he's gone into 6th position. That's good. That's a good result for the Australian.
Yep, very good result in his first event here as Wiesenmuller he gets sideways. That's not going to help his lap for one bit.
Lindström now up to 5th. So Lindström, after he dropped down to 8th, he's now gone up to 5th. Wiesenmuller, he didn't end up doing the lap. Richards 16th, 31.2. That's 3 seconds away. Van der Venne 12th. Or is that? I'm just seeing if anyone else on track. I don't think anyone is. Oh, Augerklint 15th. So he's just improved by a few positions. 30.5. That's slightly. I think that's a personal best for him, as his best lap was in practice was 30.6.
Yeah, I've just noticed with Robert Wiesenmuller, if he hadn't have hit the wall in that last sector, he might not have got pole, but he definitely would have beat Lee Palmer to 2nd because he lost well over a 10th there in that final sector, and he still managed to do a 28.355.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be too disappointed. If you told Robert that he'd be 3rd in quali, I think he would have taken it.
Yep. So we're into warm-up now, so I'm going to run quickly through the grid. It looks like we've got Chris Butcher taking pole position, so well done Bradley on that prediction. Lee Palmer in 2nd, so he'll be very happy about that in the first race for Zanavi Racing. And Robert Wiesenmuller qualifies 3rd, Chris Butcher's teammate for THR. He'll be looking for a good result. Eric Tveit, slightly better in qualifying this time than he was in Snetterton, so he takes 4th. Then he's always a dangerous man, he's got good race pace, so it'll be interesting to see how that one plans out. Benjamin Lindström, another good result for him in 5th. Possibly unexpected, but we did see a lot of pace from him at Snetterton, so hopefully he's going to be good in the race. Gary Lennon, the man I predicted would take pole position, or hope to, ends up qualifying down in 6th. So obviously he does need to get his qualifying sorted out a bit, because he's not the greatest at the one lap specials, but he definitely does have good race pace and good race craft, so let's see how he gets on. Reece Gardner, fantastic, down in 7th place in the independent. Daniel Blanco, league admin in 8th.
That's a good performance.
In 8th position. That is a good performance for him. He'll be happy with that.
He missed round 1 at Snetterton due to other commitments, but he's shown good pace. It'd be interesting to see if he can have a good race in race 3 once the the top 10 grid is reversed.
Yep. So David van der Venne is in 9th. James Johnson qualifies 10th. Karmadaru Bogdan, another debutant to the series, qualifies 11th.
I think you're one place out there.
No, it was Chris Butcher left the game, so we're one position out. So Andy van der Velde qualifies 12th, ahead of JJ Wang in 13th. Fleur Callan, the other walk racing driver, in 14th. So that's 11th and 14th for walk racing, so they won't be too disappointed with that, but they might have been hoping for some top 10s. Jonathan Ockerclint in 15th. The two surreal drivers, David Karsher and Matt Richards, in 16th and 17th. Stephen Kelman in 18th, ahead of Mike Bell, who's down in 19th. He'll be happy with that. Alejandro Fernandez qualifies 20th and rounds out the field.
I don't know where Kyle Young and Eric Alves have gone.
Yeah, Kyle Young's left the game. I'm not sure about Eric Alves. But yeah, we've got 4 minutes to go and warm up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in this. We've got a tight first section of the track with the chicane, and we've seen a lot of action happen there over the years in F1 and in sim racing, as we see Robert Wiesenmuller reversing down the pit lane. So we could see some drama like we did in Snetterton into the first turn. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's going to be very tight in the opening few laps, and I wouldn't be surprised if there is some contact which sends cars off. You know, we saw Butcher spinning at turn 1. And Ely, who I think he got tapped by Ajala. But I'd be interested to see if any of the drivers are more careful as they are in the street circuit.
Yep, those walls are not at all forgiving. Although you can get away, actually, I say that, but you can get away with a slight tap, as we've seen some drivers do, but any more than a slight tap, miss the apex or hit one on the apex, or just generally run really wide, and it will damage your car and possibly end your race. We might see a few punctures in this event, because we've experienced that before at this track, but there is 17 turns, counting the chicane as 2, so, I mean, there's a lot of turns you need to negotiate in this track, and it can be quite mentally draining.
Yeah, definitely. The constant turning, constant action. You haven't got much time to rest. You know, the straights are quite small as well.
Yep, there's it's many medium speed corners. Which, I mean, if it was a high speed corner, it'd be slightly easier. And low speed corners, you can almost say they're easier as well because you've got time to brake and you're just slowly around the apex and away. But with the medium speed corners, you really do need to get them bang on, and you need to hit the apex if you want any chance of setting a good lap time.
Okay, so you guys got 2 minutes in this warm-up lap. What are your predictions for the race?
Well, since I'm going first this time, I think I'll put my money on Chris Butcher. He looked good in qualifying, he's looked good in practice, and he did beat Lee Palmer to pole. Although Lee Palmer put up a great fight in qualifying, and he did, you know, he was very close to Chris Butcher, and they both went quicker than they did in practice, and they show that wasn't a one-lap pace, and they can do that as Blanco passes to Vite, who spins into the wall. Oh. But I'd say it's between Butcher and Lee Palmer. Robert Riesenmuller won't be far away if he wants to pounce, as same with Eric Tveit, and Gary Lennon can make his way through the field, so it'll be interesting to see. But my top 3 prediction, I'm not sure in which order, but Chris Butcher, Riesenmuller, and Lee Palmer.
I'm gonna go with Chris Butcher, Eric Tveit, and Wiesenmuller.
That would be my second choice.
Just watching Daniel Blanco now.
Yep, Danny Blanco's done a good job in qualifying. Got himself into the top 10, which he'll be happy about. He's experiencing some problems earlier, but it seems to be sorted out now. And he's looking quick.
Just saying, about that top 10. The top 10 is very important, especially for the final race, because if you finish inside the top 10, well, it's more to if you finish sort of 9th, 10th area in race 2, then you will be on the front row for the final race. Which can give you quite a major advantage.
Yeah, so this qualifying really does make a big difference, because this qualifying is gonna set your position for race 1, which will in turn set your position for race 2. So really do, if you're qualifying in the top 10, all you want to be doing is staying there, and if you're qualifying towards the back, you just want to be as close to that top 10 as possible for race 2, so you can get a good start, make up a few positions, and hopefully stay in the top 10 for race 3, because then you'll have a great shot at getting some good points in the final race, and maybe a bit of stardom as well. But should in case you weren't aware, race 2 is qualifying, race 2 positions on the grid are determined by the race 1 results. So winner of race 1 will starting from pole position in race 2. Any retirements from race 1 will be starting at the back. So it's crucial to get the result in that first race, and just basically hold a solid position, because you don't want to be starting from the back at race 2 with the reverse grid on race 3.
Yeah, you've got to make sure that you have a good result in race 1, just so you can have the best chance as possible of getting the top 10. You'll find that in race 2, the most frantic action will usually come from that battle for 10th, rather than the battle for the lead, because for the midfield, finishing 10th is such a major difference compared to finishing 11th.
Yeah, and you've got drivers who wouldn't usually be expected to be finishing in the top 5 or the top 8, and maybe haven't ever had a chance at getting a podium result in a sim racing league. You've got them. Non-essential personnel now. We'll let the announcer say that, but 30 seconds to the race. But yeah, you'll get guys that you wouldn't expect to see in the top 5, fighting for a good result, and that's what we want to see. We want to see drivers, experiencing, the chance at winning a race, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, so there you can see the qualifying times at the bottom. Only half a second separating the top few guys.
As we're about to go green here at Singapore short, 5 minutes till the lights come on. This is Chris Butcher on pole position on the right, and Lee Palmer on the left. So your outside line as Chris Butcher moves forward there. Will that affect his start?
No, I don't think it will. And the lights
are green.
Out.
Chris Butcher gets a good start. Palmer bogged down a bit, so it looks like Wiesenmuller will be alongside Palmer. Palmer very sluggish off the line, and that's Eric Tveit going down the inside. Will Tveit goes up to second. He's alongside Robert Wiesenmuller. Robert Wiesenmuller has to take to the AstroTurf on the outside, and Lee Palmer's hit. Oh, contact for second. This is all allowing Chris Butcher to skate away after the first turn, but a reasonably clean start.
Oh, the
for Lee Palmer.
contact between Kelman and Carter. Oh, and that's more contact. But now back at the front where Lee Palmer dropped down to 4th, Wiesenmuller into 3rd and Tveit 2nd. Oh, Wiesenmuller spun! Wiesenmuller's been spun out. I don't know if there was contact or not.
I'll take a look at that quickly.
Just watching all the cars now go through the kink.
Oh, he hit it. He did it all himself. He ran into the wall. He bounced, like we were saying, he bounced straight into the wall, and it's so unforgiving. He bounces back onto the inside of the track.
Well, we're just watching Lindström. I think that's Gardner and Blanco here fighting for about 7th position with Lennon ahead, and that's Palmer behind. Is that Palmer or is that? Oh, more contact.
Yeah, Palmer's in 3rd.
No,
so
is that Ely then? Is that Ely?
Tom Ely's in 12th at the moment.
Oh, so Ely didn't do quali. Was that right at the back? And here he is now right in the midfield.
Yeah, we seem to miss that. But Robert Wiesenmuller, as we were just telling the drivers what not to do, and it's not to have an incident in the first race. And Robert Wiesenmuller spun himself out, and he's down in 18th position now.
More cars off. We have more cars off. I have no idea. I think it's one of the ADR cars. And is that Butcher? I can't tell.
No, it's not. It's not Butcher. It's Van der Velde, sorry.
And Johnson.
Bogdan's down in 18th.
No, sorry, Johnson. No, it's
James Johnson. It is James Johnson. He's down in 23rd position. So Van der Velde and Johnson are both down right at the back.
Oh, we got more. Oh, and there's Kelman in the wall again.
No, it's a disappointing start for Stephen. And Van der Velde pitting behind him, and James Johnson crashing into the wall behind that. So a bit of carnage at the back. So but we keep an eye on the front with Chris Butcher taking away a bit of a lead from Tveit. Same gap back to Lee Palmer. The front are spreading out a bit. Benjamin Lindström in 4th, ahead of Van der Venne in 5th. Gary Lennon's down to 6th, so slightly disappointing start for him with all the chaos. He'd be hoping to make up a few more positions than that. Then we've got Rhys Gardner in 7th, with Danny Blanco 8th, Florian Cal in 9th, and Tom Ely rounding out the top 10, who didn't qualify from the looks of things. So that's an incredible result for him, as he just jumped in the server.
Yeah, he definitely avoided the carnage at turn 1 with Carter and Kelman being involved, and Kelman being involved in further incidents with, Wiesenmuller, Johnson, Van der Venne. It's, all of these, it just adds up and helps Tom Ely.
Yep. Battle for 12th place raging on here between, 11th place actually, JJ Wang, Mike Bell and Matt Richards. Matt Richards is on his roof almost, as Mike Bell squeezes him into the wall. Matt Richards not happy about that, flashing his lights, and Robert Wiesenmuller comes up on them.
Yeah, so I'm just watching the replay of this. I'm just watching the replay here. So Mike Bell goes on the inside. He used, well, I don't really know how to judge that, but we have got Eric Tveit, who's suddenly caught up. Just seeing Wiesenmuller.
Oh, that's close with Matt Richards.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Richards probably feeling a bit bullied at the moment.
I'm just going to say that Eric Tveit has closed in Butcher. Only 2 attempts in it, so I'm going to go.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating.
Oh, we got more. Oh, sorry, there was a car off. I couldn't catch who that was. It might have been Cole Young guy. We also have a battle for 5th with Lennon. Van der Velde. Is that Van der Velde?
Yep. But Eric Tveit's right behind Chris Butcher now in the slipstream for the lead. Eric Tveit goes to the outside line. Is he going to go? And he's down the outside. Tveit's gone down the outside, but Butcher's closed him on. It looks like now Tveit's going to be on the inside for the left-hander, and he does the sensible thing and backs out of that one because 2 into 1 does not go, especially at that turn. But great move there by Tveit. Got the slipstream round the long straight that we were talking about earlier. Went around the outside, actually got his front of his car in front of Chris's, but Chris obviously still had the inside, and Eric had to back out. Tveit spun it. No, Eric Tveit, it was looking so good to pass Chris Butcher for the lead. He goes and spins it.
I've got to say though, he was asking for the spin in a way, because I was just watching how he was driving through these corners. He was being so aggressive with the steering wheel, like the sudden turn. He was almost doing Scandinavian flicks into the corners. Then he just did it too much, just hit the curbs on the inside of the corner, and that just caused him to spin and dropped him down to 3rd behind Lee Palmer. Anyway, just seeing we got Rhys Gardner, Van der Velde,
and Blanco.
Yep.
Van der Venne into the wall there.
Oh, it's Van der Venne, is it?
It's Van der Venne, yeah. Van der Velde and James Johnson are both retired from the race after their crash earlier.
Doesn't seem like the red rims have actually helped us at all. Well, it doesn't help me because I haven't got the better quality cameras to look at. Got Tom Ely now taking advantage.
Yep, Karmadaru Bogdan, who was quite quick in practice for walk racing, down to 18th position. So he's obviously had a few issues there.
Oh, we got Mike Bell and Matt Richards raging on this this battle. Matt Richards behind. Oh, a little bit of a tag. Matt Richards gets a bit loose, but he's now got a much better exit onto the corner.
Yeah, there'll be no love lost between these two friends. Mike raced under MTR.
Did you just say the word friends?
Mike raced for MTR last season before leaving to Ice Cold, so these guys have got a great rivalry going on as Matt, and Mike Bell down the inside. That did seem like a clean move to me. There was a bit of contact, but Matt doesn't seem to agree with that, but it looked reasonably clean to me.
Oh, he nearly clipped the wall. He nearly clipped the wall. He actually back out of the corner, but he got a better run than Mike Bell, who didn't use much of the space. On the exit of the corner. Oh, Matt Richards nearly loses it. He's gone a very tight apex.
Looks like our predictions at the top three are both wrong so far. Oh, it's Chris Butcher! Chris Butcher's down to third. So Butcher's obviously had a big problem. We've missed that. I was looking at Eric DeVite and
I'm watching the replay.
Saw him driving past
and he's
Butcher.
lost it in the chicane.
So Lee Palmer's taking the lead. Lee Palmer.
Oh, he's lost it in the chicane. I remember a driver doing this in the Sim Racing Online Touring Car Championship in exactly the same way. I'm not going to embarrass George Talbot, but it was him.
Well, so we've now got Lee Palmer in the lead. So fantastic, and his first race for this team in the series, and he's doing an absolutely fantastic job out front. 1.7 ahead of Tveit and Butcher, who both had spins.
Oh, and Tveit and Butcher.
Yep. So that's Butcher on Tveit this time.
Yeah, can Butcher do to Tveit what Tveit could not do to Butcher?
Yep.
No, he can't.
And it doesn't look like
it.
Yep. He's going to keep the pressure on Eric and try and force Eric into the same mistake as he made earlier. But that might just be the difference showing you between these two drivers. Eric, very aggressive, going for a fantastic move on the outside and ending up spinning because of the pressure from it, whereas Chris Butcher's just sitting in there waiting for Eric to make a mistake.
This is Tom Ely. Tom Ely, I think it's Blanco.
Lee Palmer, sorry to burst in there. Lee Palmer got very sideways out of the exit. He's not lost it, he's still in the lead, but he got so sideways there.
Well, back to this battle with Ely. Ely going to the inside, down into the grandstand. Contact made Blanco in the wall.
Blanco and Ely. And he's held up Van der Venne.
But I don't think Van der Venne will mind, because he's just overtaken Blanco, and Blanco gets even more loose, and he's just lost about 2 seconds.
Yeah, down to 9th.
Yeah, not only did he lose 2 seconds, but he also lost 2 places.
Yeah, Robert Wiesenmüller back up to 11th, so he's made a good comeback drive.
Mike Bell's gone off somewhere. We have a battle here between Fernandez and, is that Bogdan?
Not sure, but I'm just watching what happened to Mike Bell, and he just seems to lose the back end into the wall and just lose the back end and then head on into the inside wall. So that's basically bouncing between the two walls there. Big contact, big damage from Mike Bell.
Okay, well this must be Bogdan behind Fernandez. Oh, Fernandez clips the wall, but actually Bogdan can't capitalise. And Bogdan's getting away. Sorry, not Bogdan getting away, Fernandez now getting away. So he entered turn 1.
These kind of positions may be crucial for later on in the race if they can maybe take up a few positions when other drivers make mistakes, and then they might find themselves just possibly looking at a top 10. But we'll need to wait and see. Sitting in the 10th position right now is actually Floria Kalin, Karmadaru Bogdan's teammate, and he's got a big gap back to Robert Wiesenmüller. Oh, well, when I say big gap, it's about just over a second. And Robert, obviously, looking quicker.
Yeah, we got a battle which has been closing in. It's Orga Clint, Wang, and Richards. Orga Clint was behind Richards and Bell, but since their shenanigans, Orga Clint's now caught up, and JJ Wang's also been catching up, and he was the fastest out of these 3 in qualifying and practice.
Yep.
Orga Clint's right on the back.
Very close to making a move there, but this chicane section, you don't really want to be making a move into here, because we saw earlier it can get a bit ugly.
Oh, Lee Palmer. Sorry about this, I've been trying to focus more on the battles further back, and Palmer's gone off somewhere.
Our race leader has spun it all on his own out of that chicane we were just talking about. He did exactly the same as Tveit, but on a different turn, lost the back end and into the wall. Exactly the same, all 3 drivers, Lee Palmer, Chris Butcher and Eric Tveit, all 3 have led at some point, and all 3 have spun. Yeah,
but he's at different corners. Lee Palmer did the same as Van der Velde.
He's down to 7th now, behind his teammate Tom Ely, interestingly enough, who started at the back. So Benjamin Lindstru's up to 3rd now. He'll be happy with that.
That'll be a 2nd podium in a row. But we got Butcher right behind.
Lennon not far behind. Lennon not far behind though.
Oh yeah. Oh, tight in the wall.
Okay, so Tveit's found himself after spinning back in as Kyle Young goes into the wall ahead of them, so that gets 1 back marker out the way. But Tveit has already spun in this race, as has Butcher, and they're still sitting first and second.
So I think Lynch's might win this then.
Yeah, the way it's going now. But we were just proving the fact that we were saying earlier how mentally draining this track can be, and how those walls are so, you know, they're right out, they're sticking out onto the track, and it's so easy to hit them. And we've seen all three drivers hit the wall and spin. But Butcher does look dangerous behind Eric Tveit.
Yeah, he did get the fastest lap on the previous lap.
Yeah.
And he did get, I think he got 2 of the fastest laps.
Butcher! Oh, weaving down the straight. Lost the back end, I think, slightly out of the last turn, and was just trying to correct it. And but he's right behind Tveit now, going through the first chicane into the left-hander, and he's almost pushing the Ice Cold Racing car. But this is a similar situation to what we found in the first race at Snetterton, with Tveit leading and being chased down by a green THR machine. This time Chris Butcher instead of Robert Wiesenmuller. Let's see if Butcher makes the same mistake. And he spins it diving down the inside. I doubt he will, but we need to wait and see. Oh, Eric Tveit's in the wall. So, but
well, no, I was saying more about Butcher. Butcher really lost control, but he didn't really hit any walls.
Ah, okay. You know, sorry, it wasn't Tveit losing it. It was Butcher. I was getting a bit of a misconception by the camera.
And
there,
that battle which we were looking at before we found out Palmer had spun, which was Austin, Wang and Richards, that sort of spread itself out. Richards has lost 2 positions. Eric Tveit loose again. He's hit that wall so many times in this race.
Needs to be careful he doesn't damage his car. Any other battles going on? Just looking back through the field, at the back of the field we've got Alejandro Fernandez, Mike Bell and Stephen Kelman in a bit of a train. Although Stephen Kelman is he's been closing in on these guys slowly, but he seems to, he was quite far behind after having 2 problems earlier on. But he does seem to be closing in on Fernandez, with Mike Bell just ahead in 18th.
Yeah, Orca Clint got away from... Oh no, well, I was just saying Orca Clint got away, but he's only just nearly lost the car. Can't see any really close battles except for Blanco and Ely.
The lead's pretty close. Only 3/10 between first and second. Well, that's now been increased to half a second. But we did see Chris Butcher was quicker in quali and practice. So we know how quick Eric Tveit is around this circuit. We've seen it before. But Chris Butcher, you can never put any money against him. He will be fighting till the end of this race, and he does have great pace. And I'm not quite sure who's the quicker out of the two. Eric did look a bit quicker earlier on, and then it was Butcher's turn to be quicker. So I think it is easier to follow the leader than be the leader, though, because there's more pressure if you're leading. And when you're following someone, you can follow their lines and just do exactly the same as they're doing without any errors. Oh, is that a problem back behind? No, I thought Lindstruzer had a problem there, but he didn't.
Oh, Tveit nearly went. Oh, Tveit hit the wall again. He needs to stop hitting these walls if he's gonna win these races.
Yeah, try not to damage his car too much. Any battles further on? It looks like Lennon's not far behind Lindstruzer, so that is a podium position battle. So it's quite an important one for the championship. But the 2 guys that are first and second in the championship right now, sitting first and second in this race. Robert Wiesenmuller's made a. Sorry.
Yeah, but not in the same order. Butcher's leading the championship, Tveit second, and if Mike Bell wins, sorry, not Mike Bell. Mike Bell won't win this. But if Eric Tveit wins this, if Eric Tveit wins this, he will close the gap to Butcher.
Yep.
Obviously, he'll close the gap.
Yeah, but I might actually take the lead. We'll need to wait and see though. So we've got 2 minutes to go in this race, which means probably either 1 or 2 laps. This might be the last lap. This might not be. I'll have to wait and see.
No. Well, it depends. Unless they both slow down, which I really doubt it. Then there's going to be 1 more lap because there was 90 seconds. There was 90 seconds to go, and a lap time around here for these top guys is about 1:28. So.
Okay, so it's going to be very close though. If it's 90 seconds and if they're running 1:30s, but at the moment they are running consistent 1:28.
Well, if they're going to be fighting close, which might happen because Butcher's got a good slipstream down into turn 7, then this might be the final lap.
Yeah, so we've got a situation here where if they fight, it's going to be the final lap, and if they stay at it, it's not. So in some ways, Chris Butcher doesn't want it to be the final lap because he wants more chance to overtake, but in some ways, he wants to get it done quickly as Butcher's down the inside to fight. So this may or may not be the last lap, we don't know yet. But Tveit's down the inside, but Butcher was down the inside, but it's changed over, and now Butcher's doing the undercut, going into the chicane, and we have no idea whether this is going to be the last lap or not. If it continues this way, it will be, but it looks like it's kind of settled down, so if they can do a lap time under 1:30, it will not be the last lap, so Butcher may still have another chance.
We nearly loses it.
Oh, this is a rare situation to find ourselves in a race where it's seconds between being another lap and not. So Tveit's going to cross the line, and there should be one final lap. Yep, there's going to be one final lap. We've not reached the 15-minute mark yet. So this is the last lap now. So can Chris Butcher dethrone Eric Tveit and break his streak of winning the first races? So
Oh, Tveit ran a bit wide.
a
Sadly,
lot of tyre squeal.
Sadly, the TV cameras are stupid. They're going into turn 3 to the trees. So
And a great three-way battle. There's a three-way battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th as well.
Oh yeah, that's Gardner in 5th. And actually, if he just has if he has this good final lap, he'll suddenly find himself in a podium position.
Yep, but we better keep an eye on the leaders because there's only 2 tenths in it as Butcher's now in the slipstream of Tveit. He's going to close up the advantage he lost in the first turn, going to the outside. Will he go for a dive down the inside? No, he's taking a sensible option, staying behind him. And he's going to wait till Tveit makes a mistake, which can happen because Tveit has hit the wall a few times on this turn. And he lost the back end here earlier, so he'll be more careful. But Chris Butcher's right on the back of Eric Tveit here. This is the final lap and the final time they will be taking these corners. If Butcher's got to pounce, he's got to do it now. But I think he will before the end of the lap. If he gets any sniff of an opportunity, he will be in there. Is Tveit going to run wide out of the chicane? No, he locked up a little bit, but he's held it together. Butcher's going to have a good run, but I don't think he's going to make it into the chicane. There's now going to be one left-hander to go, well, double apex left-hander to go for the final turn. And and Butcher's lost the back end, so Tveit just needs to keep it on the track, and he will take his 2nd race 1 victory in a row, and he is going to do so. Eric Tveit comes down the home stretch, and he is going to win race 1 at Singapore here for the 2nd round of the BMW E90 League.
Oh, and we've got Lindruzer getting a podium. A good performance there. Gardner behind Lennon, so good performance there by all of the top 5. Meanwhile, Palmer in 6th, Ely in 6th. Well, he'll be happy with that. Palmer in 7th, he'll be disappointed. Blanco in 8th, he will be happy with that. 9th, that's Wiesemuller. Oh, I don't think he'll be too happy after his, lap 1 spin.
He did make a good recovery though.
Oh! Van der Venne has beaten Callan to the line.
Oh, that's interesting. Did Callan slow down or was it?
I don't know.
Take a look
Oh,
at
we
that.
got Matt Richards and Wang.
Yeah, it looks like Callan seemed to. He didn't hit the wall or anything.
Contact between Matt Richards and JJ Wang on the line. Matt Richards was trying to defend from JJ Wang. They made contact.
Wang in the wall.
Yep, that's why. Bogdan moves. Bogdan 14th, Carter 15th, 16th.
We've missed a DNF for Jonathan Ockerclinth, but David Carter finishes 15th ahead of Rudolph in 16th. Alejandro Fernandez finishes 17th. Mike Bell will finish 18th, and Stephen Kelman finishes 19th. Who's just coming across the line now, so he's our last finisher. And then we have got Jonathan Ockerclinth, Kyle Young, James Johnson, and Andy van der Velde, all with DNFs from that race.
Wow, another retirement for ADR.
It's disappointing.
Yeah, and also, we were saying before the race that ICR, all 3 drivers need to work together. Eric Tveit did well, Gary Lennon did well. Did Mike Bell do well?
he finished, let's say he finished higher than he qualified. So in some senses, yes. yeah. But I don't think Mike will be too happy with that, down in the 18th position. It's not gonna, but then again, THR finished 2nd, the THR got 2nd, 9th, and a retirement. Whereas Ice Cold have got an 18th, a 1st, and a 4th, so they will be making some inroad to the championship lead THR have got at the moment, but there's still a long way to go, so anything can still happen.
Okay, so yeah, race 2 will be coming up in a few moments. The grid is exactly the same as the results from this round, so it'll be Eric Tveit on pole, Chris Butcher in 2nd, and at Snetterton we did see that Chris Butcher was very good at starts. Lindruzer will be starting 3rd. It's just that's one major problem about retiring in these races. If you do retire, it will affect you for the next race. So Van der Velde, sorry, why am I saying Van der Velde? I'm copying you now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Van der Venne instead of Van der Ven. It's getting to me.
Yeah. So Van der Velde, that's not the first time he's had an early retirement. So he's got to fight his way from the back and. Well, he'll be hoping for a top 10. All of these drivers could get a top 10 with a bit of luck. Yeah,
yep.
Well, maybe not
looking
all the
way back to 12th and 13th with Matt Richards, JJ Wang, having a good battle there. Karmadar Bogdan, all these guys, David Carter, they'll all be looking to try and sneak into that top 10 because we could have retirements from in front, like we saw in race 1.
And we also saw, Jonathan Organ, if he was ahead of JJ Wang and Matt Richards, so he would have finished 12th, probably.
And with a good shot at the reverse grid.
Yep. Especially
That's
with a couple of
disappointing
incidents.
for him. Disappointing for him.
Oh,
But we
okay.
oh, I'm going to the wrong track. It looks like. Is that not just me?
No, don't worry. Don't worry.
Not worrying. No, but we had oh,
Don't worry. Just
let Mr. Personnel speak his words of wisdom. And this looks like, oh, I thought we were seeing it at night time there, but we're not. And it looks like we've just gone into the wrong circuit. Don't know if it's the same for you, Bradley.
yeah, there is a problem now.
That's Mike Bell did his admin work there. But and all the cars are out for practice, and we're now at Monza. So there's a bit of a mistake there. We're gonna have to get that one sorted out for you. But that's not one you see every day in sim racing. I can't help but laugh. We've just gone from Singapore to Monza, and it's gone from nighttime to daytime in about 4 minutes. And David Carter's leading across the oval.
I was wondering why it's taken so long.
Yeah, so we've got David Carter now leading the way around the oval at Monza and still managing to crash. Oh,
well, I can't see any of this sadly, but
yeah. So sorry about all this, but that's obviously a mistake happened there, but we'll get it sorted, and should be a bit of fun in the process. But we can't not take notice of Robert Wiesenmüller's good comeback drive there. Spinning on the first lap, okay, it was his own fault, so you know you can look at that result and think it's disappointing. But from where he was after lap 1, to fight back from down in 21st to finish in 9th, and with a really good shot at the reverse grid, he just needs to hold it together. That's you got to be happy with how that went, considering the lap 1 shenanigans.
yeah, you know, the last thing you want to do is have an early mistake, because it means you've got to fight with drivers that you wouldn't normally be fighting with. More incidents are more are likely to occur, and it's just a lot harder to fight your way through the field.
As David Carter crosses the line at Monza to be the first man to complete a lap after doing the old banked oval, so that's interesting. And he's showing you how fast these BMWs can really move. Let's hope he brakes for the chicane, and he's not going to. That's predictable. Oh wait, the chicane's not there, so we probably shouldn't give you a lap on board with Monza, because that's not where we're racing. As David Carter goes off onto the gravel and has a big crash. So yeah, that was a very interesting race actually. I've never been in a sim racing situation where we've had 2 drivers fighting for the win, not knowing if it's the last lap or not, and it all depends on how that went. But finally, we seem to get it sorted, and David Carter loses his race lead and his pride. So we're now back to Singapore, ready for race 2, and hopefully everything will be sorted out. And yeah, we are back at Singapore, so sorry about that. It's EasyJet for you. As all the cars load up. So hopefully in a couple of minutes we should have the race with hopefully the correct grid order. That's one thing that might be an issue, but let's all hope the grid is still in the correct order. So the cars we're seeing out right now, this isn't qualifying or anything. There's just a few minutes of driving about until we get all this sorted out. So drivers will just take their time and drive out in the race setup, and maybe just get a few laps under their belt with a new tyre, see how it feels, and yep, hopefully there's no quali again. Bradley, can you remember one time in your life where that's ever happened in a sim racing broadcast before, going from one track to another?
No.
Well, there's an ERA first then.
However, I do remember. I can remember times where I've seen races where the commentator didn't know if it was the last lap or not.
Well, we've seen many races where the driver doesn't know if it's the last lap or not. Makes for great viewing on YouTube. But as we see, David Carter looks like he's once again first out on track.
Oh,
so he always likes getting his laps in.
Seeing if I can actually find him on track. Oh, we got Blanco. That'll do.
So the admin looks like they are going to sort out the grid order. So that's good that we won't see a new qualifying, because that would be unfair on all the drivers who'd done well, and a bit of a let off for the drivers who hadn't and who did not finish.
Yeah, it'd be unfair to the drivers that actually stayed on track. As in, as in that they didn't spin.
Well, there wasn't many of them, if we're honest. But it does show
Needing
you the
shoes
pace
on.
of it does show you the pace of the guys at the front, like Tveit and Butcher, if they manage to spin and still end up in the top three. It just shows you how dominant they were in that race. Although Lindstruzer showed that if you don't spin, you can still get a good result, funnily enough, by finishing fourth in the end, was it? Or was it? No, it was third, wasn't it? Lindstruzer picked up third, ahead of Gary Lennon and Rhys Gardner. So Rhys Gardner actually would be absolutely delighted with that in his first race in the series, and he's managed to get himself a top 5. Which only
Yeah, great performance from Rhys.
Yep, and Mike Bell will be hoping for a better race after finishing 18th in the first race. A few incidents with Matt Richards in that one, which is to be expected.
He ended up upside down at the end of the
yeah, squeezed into the wall, which is to be expected. But those guys always have a great laugh when they're racing, and that's what it's all about. It's all about good battles and having fun. So
banter.
yeah. So we thought the last round would be all the technical problems sorted, but that's definitely a first. And it looks like we're in a couple of minutes' time, so just bear with us. We will have the race underway, and we're just waiting for everyone to rejoin and get settled in, and the admins to do the grid order. But yeah, that first race was exciting. We had a lot of action, a lot of overtaking, and quite a lot of spinning. It surprised me actually. The top guys, I thought they'd be a bit more cool under the pressure, but maybe just leading the race at this twisty track with 17 turns, the concentration might just be a bit too much.
Yeah, you've got to really practice at this circuit to make sure that you don't make so many mistakes. You know, we saw Butcher making that mistake where he only turned in too early.
Uncharacteristic of him.
Yeah, and you know, you got to make sure that you practice so much, because anything can happen, and with, you know, the tyres wearing out and fuel dropping down, you know, the cars are constantly changing. You know, your braking points may change, your turn-in points may change, the level of grip will definitely change throughout the race.
Yeah.
And are we going to race?
Oh, we're going to race.
Yep.
Yep. But looking at that first race, well, we might be anyway. We'll find out in a couple of seconds. But looking at that first race, Eric Tveit took the win from Chris Butcher, so that's 3 points he gained on his championship lead, although Butcher gets 1 point for pole position. So that's a 2-point difference. So that means Chris Butcher will be, if my maths are correct, 3 points ahead of Eric Tveit in the championship. Wieston Miller would have lost some ground there with the 9th place, so which means Tommy Lee will probably be up to 3rd, unless Benjamin Lindstruzer scored enough points to pass both of them. But we are going to the race. Or no, sorry, we've got a 5-minute warm-up before we start going to the race. So this is the last chance for drivers to get used to any setup changes, or just get back used to the correct track and not Monza.
Ooh, yeah.
And we've got a race out of the pit lane between Van der Velde and, I was about to say Van der Velde again, Van der Velde and Danny Blanco, having a good race out of the pit lane in warm-up, practicing their overtaking skills.
Yeah, you can just see it in the background.
Yep.
Off there for the cameras. Oh, making contact.
And they're side by side down the straight.
It's just I can't.
Yeah, we didn't seem to be. Oh, and he goes down the inside. So Daniel Blanco making a good move there, hoping to repeat that in the race. But I'm a little bit surprised that we didn't see any, usual team orders in the qualifying, because we've seen it before in many different leagues where drivers are given, when there's a big straight, they're giving themselves or each other, sorry, a big slipstream. But maybe on this track it's probably not necessary and not worth the wait.
Yeah, you just answered your own question there, John.
Yeah, I know. I was as I started saying it, I was thinking, hang on, why would you? But it could make the difference, because we saw in practice there were only 12,000s between the top three, and a slipstream would make probably about 500s of a difference.
No, you'd only really see teams doing slipstreaming at tracks such as Brookston.
Yeah, the long straights, past corners. That's usually where you see it.
Yeah, maybe. I'm trying to think if there's any other tracks on the calendar. Maybe Croft. Maybe.
Yeah, Croft. Well, there's a couple of long straights, but there's too many tight corners, I think. Montreal, there's a lot of long straights at Montreal, so there's there's potential.
One long straight at Montreal, really.
Yeah. But that is a very long straight. It's not just a long straight. It's a properly long straight, and the slipstream will make a big difference there. But that's a long time away.
And also the big one, Pugaco.
So have we got anyone setting lap times in warm up? Doesn't look like it, but Van der Velde is on a lap, and Danny Blanco, and David van der Venne is in second, also on a lap. So both ADR guys out there in warm-up, running behind one another actually. Van der Velde leading Van der Venne. It's a bit ironic that the two drivers with the most similar names are both running in the same team with the same livery.
Yeah, and what's even better is that another Belgian compatriot, Van Dorne. Imagine if Van Dorne was in ADR as well. Van Dorne, Van der Velde. Oh my god.
Van der Venne. Yeah, that'll be
Van der Velde.
interesting.
Yay.
I know. I every time I go to say Van der Velde, I keep trying to say Van der Velde and stopping myself.
And then when you try to say Van der Venne, you end up saying Van der Ven.
We should never have started this.
It's
kind of like it's kind of like Xanavi. It's spelled Xanavi, and I'm not quite sure why they spell it like that and pronounce it in a different way, or it might just be us. But Tom and Lee, you could have picked an easier team name to pronounce.
Well, I don't really think that they care about the team name. I think Lee's happy enough with the warm-up play.
They like making it difficult. They like making our job difficult. But he did a 126
about difficulty. Originally, Lee Palmer was going to have this German name, which was ridiculous.
Well, we're good at German. We're good at German names.
Lindstruzer.
Are we not? Lindstruzer, but Tommy Lee's done a 128.6, so he is looking quite quick. We didn't see him in warm-up or quali, but he's showing he does have pace, like he did at Snetterton. But I don't think the way it's going right now, if he's inconsistent, like missing qualifying, for example, in this race and spinning out of the first race at Snetterton, he's not gonna be right there in the championship fight if he continues this inconsistency, because we know he's got the pace. It's just finishing those races in the top positions. That's what gets you the points, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have Betancourt this time, so we've not got. There's one name I was struggling to pronounce the whole time, Betancourt, but I've got it sorted now.
That's the easiest name you could ever have.
Yep, my bad.
Yeah, Betancourt, he actually won a race in the ERA Skoda series, but he isn't currently here for this round of the E90 Euro series.
Yeah, which is actually a bit of a shame because he showed good pace at Snetterton. I'm trying to think of more drivers that were here at Snetterton that are not here now. I'm trying to rack my brain to find the names. I'm not getting any. But so we've got a minute left to warm up, and then we will be straight onto the grid.
Predictions.
Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, but Tom Ely has just done a 128.0. So have we, because he's not been in qualifying or warm-up, have we missed the fact that Tom Ely has actually been the quickest guy this weekend? Because he's just done a time quicker than any of the other guys did in qualifying, and I would guess that's probably his race setup he's done that on. So have we missed? Tommy Lee might have been the quickest guy in that race. We might have missed that because he hasn't shown himself actually so far until race 1, where he managed to fight his way into the top 10. But that's a very quick time for Tommy Lee. So back to the predictions then. I'm going to put my money for this race. I'm trying to think of drivers that finished high up. I think I'm probably going to put it on Lindstruzer because all the other guys around them are going to spin out, and Benjamin Lindstruzer is going to cruise through for a victory.
No, I think Simrose.tv. I'm going to go with
Mike
Butcher.
Bell.
I think Butcher's going to win. I don't think he's going to make the same mistakes he did before. I think he's going to leapfrog fight at the start, and I just don't think he's going to be challenged as much this race.
Yep, as we wait for the grid, I'm just going to have a spoonful of melted chocolate ice cream to cool my throat. But anyway, so warm-up's just coming to an end here, and we've got 30 seconds before the lights will go green, and hopefully at Singapore, not Monza, and we will be racing for race 2, another 15-minute race of this series, and Eric de Veit will be looking to repeat his race 1 amazing performance, to be honest. He's so good at the race runs. He seems to be, in qualifying, he's just not got that raw lap.
Non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
He's the most interruptive man in the world, that guy. But Eric de Veit, he does seem to have great race pace, and every time we've seen him this season, and he doesn't seem to get it quite together in qualifying like he would hope. So if he did, I think he'd probably be at the front for more of the races. But saying that, he has won more races this season than anyone else.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, let's go to the grid then. We've got most of the cars now lined up.
Yep. A couple of cars creeping forward. But Eric de Veit will be on pole position on the outside line as the lights go red, and we're about to go green here for race 2 at Singapore. And the lights are out, and Tveit, does he get a good start? Oh.
No, Butcher gets a much better one. Oh, we got a car in the wall. That's Wang. Wang's in the wall already. He spins it back
Is he?
around.
Oh no, disaster for JJ Wang.
Butcher's on
and
the inside.
Ockercliff makes the start.
Meanwhile,
yeah, great,
oh,
great
that's one of the Zanavis in the background spinning. I think that might have been Palmer. Ely.
Danny Blanco.
Yeah,
And David Carter.
spun again. Wiesenmüller.
Oh no, there's carnage at the back. Looking at the back, we've got quite a few drivers. We've got Nanan, Alejandro Fernandez, JJ Wang, Jonathan Ockercliff, all having issues. Robert Wiesenmüller.
Oh, we got a massive battle up front though. We got Lennon, Tveit. I think that is probably Ely.
Ely and Lennon side by side. And now Tveit is going for the lead. We've got Lennon in 4th, so we've got 4 cars battling for the lead here. Tveit's down the inside of Butcher, and he's made a brilliant move stick. We've got Tom Ely in 3rd. Will Tom Ely be a factor in this race?
Oh,
will he be able to take it?
Instru's on the inside. No,
it's not Lindstruser. Reese Gardner. It's Reese Gardner. Lindstruser's gone. Has Lindstruser even made the start of this race?
No,
Lindstruser's not even in.
I think Lindstruser had contact with Palmer. I'm gonna
he left the game. He had a mismatch.
I'm gonna see if I can find out what happened in this turn 1 incident.
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on the front as you do that, but Benjamin Lindstruser, my prediction for the race win, although it may not have been 100% realistic, but it's already out the window. But we've got Eric Tveit, so if I'm going to change my bet, I'm going to put my money on Tom Ely. Looking at that pace he had in warm-up, that was incredible. And he's already up to 3rd position, so from the back of the grid for the start of race 1, with no reverse grids to help him, he's already up to 3rd. But Butcher
so I've just noticed, I think that was so David Carter got hit off. Meanwhile, we got more contact just around the back, and then because of Wiesel, it was also spun, that also caused more problems.
Butcher's looking racy. Butcher's looking racy behind Tveit.
Yeah, we have Fernandez in the pits. That's unfortunate for him. He was involved in contact at turn 3.
Yeah. One man who's had a great start, Stephen Kelman, up to 14th already, and there's only 3 cars in front of him that need to retire or have problems for him to be sitting in pole position for race 3. But we'll have to wait and see as the race pans out. There'll be a few retirements, but there'll also be a few overtakes and mistakes from everyone. But looking back at the front, Chris Butcher's looking racy behind Eric Tveit. These 2 guys are 1st and 2nd in the championship. They've both won races this season. They've won all the races except Robert Wiesenmüller winning the 3rd race at Snetterton. They've won every other race. So it's starting to look like Eric Tveit and Chris Butcher are the 2 favourites for this title, and they seem to be going hammer and tongs at it every race with similar race pace. And Chris seems to be quicker in qualifying, but Eric seems to get it together for the race. And Tom Ely seems to be quick in everything. But he seems to be quick in everything, but he just can't seem to get the race performance together, or get his qualifying, or actually get in the server for qualifying.
Okay, what I'm wondering is how Matt Richards has got into 6th position.
Oh, how have we missed that? Matt Richards has got up to 6th position from starting well down. I don't even know if it was inside the top 15.
13.
But he's managed.
13th, I think.
13th, and he's managed to get himself up to 6th position. That's unbelievable for Matt Richards. Great start.
Oh,
and Alejandro Fernandez coming out the pits.
That was a 27. Eric
27.
A 27.
6. A 27.6. That is unbelievable lap time for Eric Tveit. That's surely. I'm not sure if that was entirely legal. Looking at that time, I'm not going to take anything away from him, but if it was, what a lap by Eric Tveit. Quicker than we've seen it at all throughout the whole weekend. Well, unless they did offline testing or just any testing that was quicker. But that is an unbelievable lap time by Eric Tveit.
Yeah, I'm just looking further back, just seeing what battles we have. We have Palmer catching up Richards, going into turn 7. He's too far back though to actually make a move.
Yep. Matt Richards at this rate, if he gets passed by a few more guys, but he holds the station, doesn't make any mistakes, he'll be looking at a front row start for the next race as Lee Palmer gets down the inside.
Yeah, that was a very good move by Palmer. Very simple. Meanwhile, we got battle behind. We got massive battle behind. We got one of the ADR. Who was it?
Yep. Van der Venne and Blanco.
And I think that's Callan as well.
Yep.
He's a bit further back.
Yeah, but sitting in Matt Richards' position at the moment, he knows he doesn't have the outright pace to beat the guy likes of Lee Palmer. But if he could just keep his car on the track and keep ahead of a few guys, he'll be looking at a front row start for the next race. Robert Wiesenmüller's got his work.
Blanco's going to try and overtake. Sorry, who was it? Van der Venne?
Yeah, and Wiesenmüller on Callan right behind him. So Blanco right on the back of Van der Venne, going down the pit straight. He's going to have the slipstream, and right behind him we've got Florian. Oh, big Callan's on his roof. Callan is on his roof, and Robert Wiesenmüller. I'm not sure what happened. I'm going to take a quick look. I think Wiesenmüller might have squeezed him into the wall, or it might have been his own doing. It was Callan seemed to get a bit wide into the wall. Visa Miller had nowhere to go, and he just seemed to lift the car up, and Callan on his roof down the pit straight. Dramatic crash here in race 2, but that puts Visa Miller up to 11.
Yeah, just watching on the replay, Butcher's also caught up twice.
Yep, right at the front.
Nah, can't see it too well, sadly.
Yep, had a
Halling's
big
finally got
crash there.
going though, but he's down to about, what, 15th, 16th area. So
Yep,
that's a shame for him. He was on course for possibly a top 10 position.
Nanin's out of the race.
Teammate.
David Nanin.
Oh,
he was
yeah,
in
sorry, I was just saying,
12th.
Just saying that this battle is still going on though. Blanco 10th, so this is really the battle for 10th, unless Wiesemuller catches in. Wiesemuller is 11th, and Wiesemuller is definitely faster than Blanco and Van der Venne. Oh, contact between Blanco and Van der Venne though. Van der Venne into the wall. Blanco lost a lot of time there, and this is allowing Wiesemuller to catch up so much.
Yep, we've got a couple of drivers, couple laps down. Just looking at the back, we've got Ockerklin not making the start. Stephen Kelman's obviously had a problem a lap down. He'll be disappointed with that when he was up in 14th. Alejandro Fernandez is also a lap down, and David Nanin is out of the race.
Yeah, just watching at the front. Butcher's trying to catch him on tight. He's closed in by a few tenths after he was over a second behind after Tide did that magical 27.6, but now it's down to about half a second. Can he get a slipstream into turn 7?
But saying about Eric Tvite's 27.6, Chris Butcher on the next lap did a 27.7, so which is only a 10 slower. So these guys really are pushing incredibly. Oh, and Butcher's got a slipstream. He's not going to go for a move. That would be a bit too ambitious.
Okay, just gonna look further back then. So Johnson's getting away.
Van der Venne and Blanco.
Yeah, and where's Wiesemuller gone? Oh no,
he's right behind. As Johnson goes down the inside of Van der Venne. This is an important battle. This is for 9th place, and if Wiesemuller can get ahead of them, it will be for 10th place and the pole position. And it will be between Van der Venne and Blanco, but obviously there's a long way to go in this race, and anything can happen in front of them.
Really, this is going to be Van der Venne, Blanco, and Wiesemuller fighting for the the front row positions. Yeah,
we're going to have to keep an eye on this one though, because we know Wiesemuller's got more pace, but he's still quite a bit behind.
Good run.
Oh, Blanco's on the cut. He's down the inside of Van der Venne.
Got it. Great move there from Blanco. Van der Venne has to back out of it.
Yep.
And now Van der Venne, I guess I'm thinking that Van der Venne's just an easy.
Oh, no, Blanco spun it! No, the league admin has spun out of the 9th position, which was potentially a front row start for the third race.
Front row slot. Oh, Toy Butcher.
Butcher is. Oh, Butcher's passed the fight. And
I
as we were looking at that,
keep looking out for these battles, John.
and as we were focusing on Blanco spinning for the pole position for the next race, the pole sitter for this race has lost the lead.
The apex. Toy misses the apex for turn 1. Butcher just
Tvite's coming back at him right now. Tvite made contact through the kink, and they're coming down there side by side. Tvite's going to go to the outside like he did in race 1, and he's going to go around the outside. Oh, but he's made slight contact with Butcher, and Butcher has closed the door, and there is nothing he can do about that. Tom Mealy just lurking there in 3rd. He's still waiting for these two guys to make a contact and have a crash, and he'll be pouncing on that and into the lead. But Chris Butcher still leads this race, so he's 1/10 ahead of Eric Tvite. So it's the opposite from what we've seen in race 1. And as we were talking about, these two guys might just be the championship contenders, and they're 1st and 2nd at the moment in the race and the championship, as they were in race 1. Yep,
and if Eric Tvite does win this, then the gap will be down to 1 point. Oh, really thought he spun it then.
Oh, but Eric Tvite, do you get a... No, you can't... No, I was trying to work out if you get a point for pole position in this race, but you obviously won't because there's no qualifying.
Well, there isn't any points for that anyway, so...
Yep, actually, the gap will be down to 0 points, actually, because there's only 3 points in it at the moment, and 3 points between 1st and 2nd. So, if Eric Tvite can win this race, ahead of Chris Butcher in 2nd, it will be a dead heat at the top of the championship.
Yep.
But Butcher is pulling away slightly.
Now, how will it be a dead heat?
Because Butcher is currently 3 points ahead of Tvite in the championship.
Yeah, but isn't it only 2 points more for a win?
Nope, 3. It was 2 points in the last race because Butcher got a point for pole position. So it will be a dead heat. It will be 20 points for a winner and 17 points for 2nd place, if the rules are correct. So it would be a dead heat, but that's all still to come. We have no idea what's going to happen in this race.
Okay,
and Butcher is currently leading.
Just to let you know, this battle for 10, Blanco is actually not too far behind Van der Venne. So it'd be interesting to see if Blanco can just gain the time in these last few laps, last 5 minutes. That's probably about 3 or 4 laps.
Yeah, we missed Wiesemüller actually passing Van der Venne, but obviously didn't put up too much of a fight because
Oh,
there's
we've
quite a
also
big gap
got
between
Walk
the two.
Racing. Walk Racing are quite close together with Bogdan and Kalin.
Yep, unfortunately it's down in 15th and 16th, so that's not for any chance of a pole position unless there's a lot happening in front.
Oh, Fernandez had a horrible race. He's in the pits again.
Yep. So at the moment, as it stands, with 5 minutes still to go, we'll be looking at David van der Venne hoping to turn ADR's luck around with a pole position from Robert Wiesenmuller, who might have a big gap back to the quicker guys such as Butcher and Tveit. Well, not necessarily quicker, but definitely had a better first couple of races. But if Wiesenmuller can get in the front row, he's got a good chance of running away with this one.
No, sorry, Ely down the inside of Tveit. He's made the move.
Oh, it's for second. Oh wait, sorry.
He's run wide. He's run wide. Will he let him past? Well, I don't know what the stewards will say, as he did run wide during the overtake. So interesting.
That's Ely ahead of Tveit.
What?
That is Ely ahead of Tveit now, so that's gonna make a difference to the championship.
Yeah, it will. It means that Butcher's extending his gap once more.
Yeah, if it finished like it did now, it would be 9 points.
But will Ely? Well, maybe Ely will catch up Butcher.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what we were talking about earlier, because Ely has such good pace. Although a 28.0, I thought it was the quickest I'd seen, but these guys on the 27s. Sorry, I thought it had been actually Kyle Young. No, it was Kyle Young parked on the apex of the turn there. Thought it might have been. Thought for a split second there was a problem with the leader, but obviously not. But Ely did have good pace in warm up, and Tveit and Butcher have had incredible pace in this race. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to develop here. And will Chris Butcher make another mistake? It's unlikely, but it's possible. 4 minutes to go.
Ooh. Is there any action happening further down the field, John?
Just taking a look now. It seems to be fairly well spread out. We'll see if we can find any battles going on at the moment. As we've got Kyle Young, but he's a back marker letting drivers past. And got Stephen Kelman disqualified from that race, so obviously something happening there. Not necessarily his fault, but we need to wait and see what happened.
Oh, sorry, I thought Tveit was going to overtake Ely.
Yeah, that is the closest battle on the track right now. That is the closest battle.
Yeah, he got a very poor run out of turn 3, and Eric's hit the wall going into this back straight. So that will affect if he can overtake into turn 7.
Yep, doesn't look like he's going to do it. He's quite way back. He's got 3 minutes to make a move on Ely, and at the moment it looks like Chris Butcher's got this one. He's not got it in the bag, but he's got one hand on it, and we'll need to wait and see if anything else happens to him. But Eric Tveit and Ely are going to battle it out aggressively. I'm expecting it to be exciting anyway for second and third. But Butcher, actually they seem to have closed on Butcher there.
Wait, I'm sorry, I've just noticed something. Someone's missing from the top 10 because Blanco, Van der Venne and Wieselmuller are all in the top 10, and is Matt Richards still in the top 10?
It is. No, it's Matt Richards is down to 18th, so he's DNF'd. So is that Matt Richards? Has he thrown away a top 10 result there?
Tveit down the inside of Ely into the final 2 corners. And it looks like Richards has thrown away a top 10 position.
Oh, he'll be gutted with that one. I'm gutted for him as well.
On the inside. Side by side.
He's gonna, Ely seems to have the slight overlap, and that is the case. Tveit getting very sideways, but Ely has held off Tveit and holds on to his second place. This may be the last lap, may not be. Unfortunately, I can't see. 1 minute 18 to go. Well, it's 1 minute 18 to go at the moment, so it's going to be very close.
There's
Butcher! Butcher very, very sideways. He's going to lose a lot of time there. And they've closed in quite a lot, because Butcher got very sideways out of the second turn there. Well, the right-hander.
Just to let you know, there will be another lap after this.
Okay, so it's not over yet. It's definitely not over. Ely has closed right in on Butcher after that mistake. That's what we were saying Butcher wasn't expected to make. And that shows you how the pressure can get to you. Getting very sideways there. Lucky to hold on to it. And so does Tveit, gets into the wall. But these front 3 guys are dominating at the moment. 4.5 seconds ahead of Gary Lennon in 4th. Great battle between Rhys Gardner and Lee Palmer.
Butcher's lost the lead.
Oh, Chris Butcher he had the championship lead. He was ready to increase his championship lead. And just as we were saying he's cracking under the pressure, he cracked. And Chris Butcher is down to 3rd position. And it looks like Tom Ely and Eric Tveit are really going to tough this one out. 1 lap to go. This is an absolutely incredible finish.
Butcher's still right in it though. Butcher is not far behind.
no,
I
we saw
think
what
it-
happened last lap.
Oh, see, look how much quicker Butcher goes in the final two corners. He gets a really good run onto the straight. He might take second here from twice into turn one.
Yep, and if this is a change for second and third, it might give Ely a chance to escape and take his well overdue first win of the series. We'll need to wait and see as they come through the chicane now. Into the left-hander, all three are really close together. There's nothing in it. Chris Butcher's going to go down the inside of the right, but that will be the outside, and he's backed out of that one. He didn't have enough of an overlap. But Tom Ely
I think he's going to
is
go. I
leading
think
the
he's going to
race.
go for a move. He's going to go into move into turn 7. Has he got a good
So
exit? Yes, he has.
Dwight
Dwight's
hit
gone
the
off.
wall.
Dwight's gone off.
Dwight has hit the wall, but it's going to cost him time. It may cost him a position, and it cost him some points
and
as well.
Butcher's got the slipstream as well from Ely. Oh no, he hasn't
Yep.
anymore. Oh no!
Oh,
he can't do it.
Butcher and Dwight's held off, and Butcher's in the wall, and both of them are snaking around. They need to stop fighting because Ely is getting away here. And can Ely make this the first win for Zanabi Racing in only their second race? And after he started from last position in the first race, can Tom Ely do the impossible here and win race 2 at Singapore? None of us expected it. We saw how quick he was, and I told to watch out for him. But we've never expected him to be leading on the last lap. Dwight's all over the back of him though. Dwight's going to get the overlap. This is the final complex of turns. It's the last chicane. They're coming
And
through the
also,
left-hander.
watch out,
Will
watch
Dwight
out
get the
for
run?
Butcher. Watch
Yeah,
out for Butcher.
Butcher.
He's very good in these final 2 turns.
We can't forget about Butcher, but Ely's going to come round. He's ahead of Dwight. And that's how it's going to finish, unless Butcher does anything extravagant. He's
Nope.
not. So Tom Ely takes the win in race 2 at Singapore, ahead of Eric Tveit and Chris Butcher. Fantastic race right to the finish. Only 0.4 of a second in it, as Butcher and Tveit make contact after the line, and Tveit spins across the first turn.
Yeah, and we've
A
also got a
fantastic
very
race.
good performance. It's his second 4th place of the event. Lennon in 4th.
Consistent.
I think fifth was it's up
Gardner.
Reece Gardner again.
Reece Gardner, 2 top 5s. He's got 100%
Sixth
record
is,
of top
sixth Lee
5s.
Palmer. 7th is going to be James Johnson, just ahead of his teammate Robert Wiesemüller. 9th is going to be Van der Venne. 10th is Blanco, so he will start on pole. Mike Bell, JJ Wang and Floria Calhoun fighting for 11th position.
Yep. It's a shame
This
it's not
could
for
be
10th
an
for
absolute-
these guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, imagine if this was the battle for 10th. Mike Bell nearly runs wide. Floria Calhoun's right on the back of Wang.
Yeah, Mike Bell's made up a lot of positions from the start. He started well down in 18th after having a bit of trouble in the first race. But Allen and Wang are going to go at it for 12th position. So that does mean they will be starting in those exact positions for the third race. It won't be reversed for them. But as the rest of the field crosses the line, we should talk about the grid for the next race. We've got Danny Blanco, the league administrator and runner, in pole position. Fantastic for him. Great for the series. He deserves it after all the work he's done. And he's going to have the pole position after we thought he'd lost it by spinning earlier. And it's Davy van der Venne will be starting second position. Robert Wiesenmuller will be dangerous in third. James Johnson in fourth. So you got THR second row. That's very dangerous. With Lee Palmer, of course, starting
Okay,
fifth.
sorry, I was just going to say some of the retirements. Bogdan retired late on as well, so... And yeah, Lee Palmer, you know, he got involved in a turn 1 collision, I noticed. That might have been with Lindström. No, it wouldn't have been with Lindström. I think it was with Reece Gardner, because I noticed it was like one of the white WTCC cars.
Yep.
No idea whose fault it was. I just know that it's involved sort of those type of drivers, sort of Blanco, Gardner.
Yeah, it's actually a real shame for Benjamin Lindström, as you mentioned him, because he was 5th position in the first race, which would have put him
Third.
third position in the first race, which would have meant he's got a good chance of finishing top 10 or even top 5 in the second race, which means a good start for race 3. But looks like it's not going to happen. Oh,
Yeah.
apparently, I'm being told by Matt Richards, I'm not going to say anything, but I will tell you exactly what I've just been told, that as Matt Richards was in a top 10 position, someone threw a snowball at his house, and it shut down the internet. I have never heard that in a sim race before. That is definitely a first.
I almost had a very similar thing happen to me before this.
Yep. We've heard of internet disconnections. We get that a lot in sim racing. That's one of the big problems with it. But a snowball at the house, that is not something you hear every day.
I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a bullet going into the other person's house as well. Maybe going through the person's head as well. And
That's a real shame.
I think I know who's going to be shooting it.
It's a real shame for Matt Richards because he was in the top 10 for the first time in this league, looking for a reverse grid. And looking at the way he was going to finish maybe 8th or 9th, which would have been front 2 rows, an incredible result. But someone threw a snowball at him, and Unfortunately, Matt Richards will be starting from right at the back for this race, so that's a real shame for him. But we're going to a bit of warm-up here before the final race. And
I've got to say, I don't understand. That must have been a very accurate snowball, though. It must have hit like wires and stuff.
yeah. Well, coincidence is a wonderful thing. But we're going to have the thing I'm probably most looking forward to in this race. We're going to have Eric Tveit, Chris Butcher, Tom Ely, Gary Lennon, Rhys Gardner, and Lee Palmer all starting between 5th and 10th, it looks like. So those 5 guys, or 6 guys even, are going to be incredibly quick. We've seen how much pace they've had throughout every race and every qualifying session. Tom Ely doing an absolutely unbelievable job, managing to start last in the first race, fight his way through to a top 10, and then to go out and win the 3rd race. He was sitting there in 3rd, and we were saying at the time, you know, any mistakes by these front 2 guys and he will capitalise. Chris Butcher spun his car, still managed to finish 3rd, right behind Eric Tveit and Tom Ely. But that's not the first time Chris has done that for this event, and it's a bit of a surprise. You wouldn't expect to see it from a man as high up there as Chris Butcher in sim racing terms. And a couple of spins is a bit uncharacteristic of him, and he's thrown away a couple of wins from it. But he can't complain. He still had 2 podiums, and he's still got the championship lead by 1 point.
Okay, so we're just going into the race now. The warm up. So the grid will be changed, so the top 10 will be reversed. So we got this 5-minute session then, or well, it's believed to be about that.
Give ourselves a breather, which is probably needed. Yep. So we got Benjamin Lindstruser rejoining the server. We forgot to mention Stephen Kelman in that race was running top 15. He's doing a great job, and looks like he's had a problem there. I'm gonna try and find out what it was, but it looks like he was disqualified for one reason or another. So that's a shame for him because he was looking for his best result so far in the series. He's had a good debut run so far. A couple of other drivers with the unfortunate disconnections, like Alejandro Fernandez, didn't seem to have a good race at all.
I don't know if that was a disconnection or not, but
and also Jonathan Ockerclin's not even making the start, so quite a few problems for some of the drivers, but that always happens in sim racing.
Oh, so I think that's the driver without JJ Wang practicing his starts. Well, practicing crashing at least, but I was
preparing for the worst.
Yeah, well, the worst did happen to him. I've got to say, JJ Wang, he did very well during the race. He got something happened to him at the start. He'd crashed before before he'd even actually crossed got past the lights, but he recovered and ended up in that battle for 11th on that final lap.
Yeah, we did also have, I don't know if the cameras caught the whole thing, but we did have the accident of the season in that last race with Floria Callan making contact with Wiesenmuller and
it was
rolling his car down the straight. Oh, that's good. But
yeah, it looked
definitely
like Floria just hit the wall, and then Robert had nowhere to go, and all of a sudden, Floria was upside down.
Yeah, that's our first contender for Crash of the Year award. But we've got 4.5 minutes to go and warm up. We will take a drink and so on.
The first
water,
crash in an actual race award.
Yeah, first crash that wasn't in warm up or wasn't Scott Solvik, basically.
Yeah. I'm just going to see if I can find out any information from some of the drivers, so I'll just be right back.
Yep. So we've had the information from Matt Richards as Bradley goes investigates, see what all the drivers have been saying about that last race. But Tom Ely did do a fantastic job there, taking the lead really from, it wasn't his to win, it was Chris Butcher and Eric Tveit battling out for first and second. He was just sitting there putting in the consistent lap times, and it basically just changed everything I've been saying about him so far in the season. He's been quick but inconsistent. In that race, he seemed to have good pace, but he didn't have the pace to catch up and pass Eric Tveit and Chris Butcher, although he might have been sandbagging. Well, I'm sure Bradley will find out, but he seemed to just, as Rhys Gardner's a massive crash there in warm-up, but yeah, he seemed to just hang in there in 3rd position, wait for the guys in front of him to make mistakes. He caught up brilliantly and he took the lead and he held on to it. So a fantastic result for Tom Ely.
No, I didn't find out. I barely found anything out.
Oh.
all I found out is that Alejandro Fernandez had punches at 2 different times during the race. That's really all I found out.
I've had that before in Singapore. I remember in the SRO, I had a puncture from 3rd position in the last lap, which was a bit harsh. But anyway, Benjamin Lindstruser looks like he's rejoined, so that's good to see. Unfortunately, he'll be starting from the back and not from near the front where he deserves to be. As we see Stephen Kelman spinning during the warm-up and almost being collected massively by Robert Wiesenmuller.
I'm not seeing any of this.
Oh well.
Does
A
it
couple
really
of drivers
matter? It's
just,
only
it doesn't matter too much, it's only warm up. Yep. So, got a couple of drivers just having a bit of fun. Reese Miller holding a
Yep.
lovely slide there through turn 1, which you just missed. Anything else we're missing? Got a lot of drivers coming out of the pits. Stephen Kelman spinning in the pit lane.
Okay, I'm just watching. I really hope I'm correct. It's Van der Benne.
Oh no, there's 4. Actually, you should probably focus on Chris Butcher, David Carter, James
Whoa!
Johnson having a great battle out of the pit lane.
Yeah,
And we seem to have got them.
oh.
Hopefully, Chris Butcher. I don't know if there's a wee niggle in his head in this event, but he seems to have just been making those mistakes that haven't been expected as he punts David Carter straight into the wall and
Well,
collects his
to be
teammate.
fair, there David Carter did just turn into him. So
Yeah, we got to give Dave. Oh, and David Carter collects him again, and Van der Velde. I'm not going to say Van der Velde this time. As Butcher rejoins, almost having a 150 mile an hour crash with Stephen Kelman.
And
But
also
anyway.
Corey Linton's joined in.
Oh yes,
his-
we're lovely new livery.
Yeah, just finding it.
Yeah, in the pits right now, but he's also new to the series in a new team with the Malmo livery, red and yellow, so it looks pretty cool. As we see Lee Palmer leaving the pits as well. There's a few nice liveries in this league actually. The THR guys have awesome liveries thanks to Robert Wiesenmuller and his work.
Optimum Sim Racing are very good liveries.
No, I wouldn't agree with that. No, I'm joking. Don't worry, Bradley. No, as do Surreal Illusions. There's a lot of teams with the good. I would do really like Lee Palmer and Tom Ely's red and white Zanavi cars. I like the kind of opposite where they have red and white. One's red and white and one's white and red, which I think is quite cool.
Oh,
I wish ADR would change
Yeah.
their cars because they're both exactly the same at the moment. You just heard a crash.
Oh.
That was my pedal box.
hey! Sorry, just
So we got a
watching
minute
up and
to
that's
go.
Reese Gardner spinning out. I've no.
Okay.
Anyway-
So David
anyway,
Carter and
only-
Tom Ely having a race.
Oh, there's only a minute.
Oh,
until-
and there's a crash.
No, it was actually Bogdan who spun out. Bogdan was telling me earlier that he's really struggling to get used to these cars, though. He's been slower than his, Florian Kalin, who only joined the team in the last couple of days. Walker. Oh God, it's just
Mayhem.
warm up. Watching warm up is just ridiculous.
Yeah, but speaking of Karmadar Bogdan, I was expecting a little bit more from him in this series because we saw him in the virtual clears as Matt Richards goes flat out into a wall and rolls over. Hopefully we'll not see that in the race. But anyway, speaking again of Karmadar Bogdan, in the virtual Clio series and Touring Pro series, he did get a pole position at Lime Rock, so he has shown good pace. It's just getting the race results, and he doesn't seem to be, as you were saying, doesn't seem to be clicking with this car. But he's got a long way to go in the season. This is just like watching a crash DVD. We've got cars going off. Mason Miller and Carter at every single corner. As we see, oh, who's that? Matt Richards flat out in this one.
Yeah.
Stephen Kelman holding a bit of an A1 drift
Oh,
there.
and is oh.
He'll be hoping you caught that on camera because that was a fantastic drift by Stephen Kelman, but unfortunately
Oh
this
no
is
no!
racing.
Oh no! Oh my God! No, I'm watching.
this is racing, not D1 drifting series. So obviously Stephen
No,
won't be
no,
getting
I'm
any
not
extra points
I'm
for
not,
that.
I'm not watching series based on
Attention
stuff.
radio, all non-essential personnel leave the grid
I was
now.
watching THR and Surreal crashes.
But anyway, over that kind of excitement and drama, hopefully we'll be into some proper racing and we won't see too much of that in the race. 20 minutes till the race starts then. Daniel Blanco
Ooh!
will be very excited about this one, sitting on pole position in the independent, and I'm sure he'll be very excited and very nervous about
now
the next 10
you know
seconds.
what? I'm gonna say Wiesenmuller will win.
I'm going to put my money on Lee Palmer. Anyway,
Okay.
we better
7
start talking about the
seconds, 5
racing because we've
seconds.
got no time to go as all the lights are on and we're about to go racing here. And Daniel Blanco gets off the line. Jonathan Ockercliff in the start of this one as well, but Van der Ven, oh, 3 wide, Wiesenmuller, Van der Venne and Blanco all going
And
3
Van der
wide
Venne
into
took the lead. Oh, contact behind, and that's void spinning. Oh, we
It is.
we got both of them.
Oh, carnage in the first turn, massive carnage. And Wiesenmuller's alongside Van der Venne for the lead. We better keep an eye on this one before seeing who's being
Oh, we
affected by that.
I think that might be Tom Ely is lost out as well.
Down to 7th,
Back to
yeah.
the lead.
But Van der Venne from Wiesenmuller at the moment, and Wiesenmuller's going to
could
be in the
you-
slipstream.
John, could you try and see what happened at turn 1? I think there was I think 2 ice cold cars were involved. I think it was Lennon and Fight as well as one of the Zanarvis.
Okay, I'll take a look.
Wiesenmuller- Oh, we got contact. Oh, Wiesemuller. Oh, we got Karloff as well. Who was that? Someone's in the wall. That might have been Butcher. I can't
It was
tell.
Butcher, it was Chris Butcher. And actually, looking at the replay, Chris Butcher down on the inside, he may have been the cause of the catalyst of that first turn incident. It looks like one of the ice cold cars went over the anti-cat actually, so I wouldn't say it was Chris. But it just looked like a log jam. We've got two ice cold cars making a bit of contact with Tveit spinning across the Astro, so he did a bit on himself, and it affected Lee Palmer. It took out Lee Palmer. All the big guys, Gary Lennon, Eric Tveit, Lee Palmer.
Oh,
Chris
Tom
Butcher.
Healy's in the wall. Tom, he's
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
no,
and Mike Bell's
Benjamin-
got back. Mike Bell's got ahead. Oh, sorry, no, that's Eric Tveit. So Eric Tveit's now ahead of Tom Healy, if it is Tom Healy. Oh, and there's Van der Velde.
Kyle Young spinning as well, crashing into the
Oh,
wall.
contact! I think they've got. I think they might have. Have they got damage or penalties?
Tveit and Van der Velde in the pits.
I think
So-
they've got penalties for cutting. That would make perfect sense though.
So,
But
so
turn
hang
one,
on a
turn
minute.
two, and turn three.
Hang on a minute. We've got Chris Butcher down in 17th position.
Yeah,
Gary
yeah,
Lennon
I'm saying,
16th.
yeah, that was just as you were looking at the replay. I did shout Butcher because he went off at turn 7. He braked too late, I think, and just went straight off at the straight off at the left-hander.
So chaos in the start of the race. I was just watching the replay of that first turn incident. It looked like the 5 guys involved were 5 of the fastest. It looked like both ice cold cars, Chris Butcher, Lee Palmer, all these guys getting involved, and there was a massive crash. I think David Carter almost on his roof. He was definitely spinning on his door anyway. But that was a crazy crash. And then we've got all the championship contenders having incidents. It looked like Eric Tveit was the man.
Look at it,
Stephen
look at the top.
Kelman!
Yeah.
Stephen Kelman's up to 8th. Fantastic for him. And he's got Eric Tveit behind him. So let's see if he's defended. But it looks like he's letting Eric through. So Eric did have better pace. So he didn't want to put up too much of a fight.
Oh,
Didn't want to damage his car.
Bogdan.
And there goes Bogdan. But Stephen Kelman somehow got from he was 12th
Oh,
at the
and
end of the
Callan,
first
oh,
lap.
that was.
And he was up to 8th. But looks like he's having some trouble
Oh,
now.
I'm sorry. We got Johnson and Wiesemuller teammates fighting out for second place with Blanco in fourth. So Blanco hasn't done too badly since his pole position, but not as well as Van der Venne, who's still leading this race ahead of the THR guys. Oh, Blanco's lost it. Oh, Blanco manages to save it though, and I don't think he's lost any positions.
Oh,
No, fifth. Tommy in
Sorry.
5th position.
3-car battle for 13th position. Kyle Young, Floria Callan, and Gary Lennon almost 3 wide into the chicane. Somehow they managed to get around it. Lennon trying to go down the inside of Callan, who was on turn trying to go down the inside. Oh, but also 3 wide into the last turn. This is crazy from these 3 guys. Sorry, Bradley.
Great racing. But is that Lindstruser in 6th?
It is Benjamin Lindstruser in 6th position.
Wow.
And we've got 3
Wow.
wide with Carter, Bogdan, and Reese Gardner. David Carter's managed to get in 10th. I thought he was on his roof in the first turn, but it was obviously Matt Richards. So getting a bit confused there. Sorry about that.
Oh,
So
that
Matt
is
Richards ended up on his
amazing.
roof.
This is amazing. So the top 6 have just got so far away from the rest of the pack. Lindstruser's managed to get from the pack to 6th position.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, at the front, what's happening to Wiesemuller and Johnson are now trying to close in on Van der Venne.
Who's leading the
Look.
race. We should talk a bit about him because he's done a fantastic job trying to undo
Yeah.
all of ADR's problems. But behind them for 8th position and further down the field we've got absolutely amazing battles going on all the way down. So at one point we thought Eric Tveit was the man in deep trouble and it looks like he's got away with it and Butcher's not.
Van der Velde on Carter.
No, the leader spun it! Or something's
God.
happened to David Van der Venne, he's still in the wall. What is happening to all the race leaders? He looks like he comes out the chicane, he gets a little bit of help from Wiesemuller, who in turn got help from Johnson, loses it into the wall. Our race leader, David Van der Venne, has thrown it away, as James Johnson did last week at Snetterton. And it looks like all the guys are cracking under pressure when they take the lead. But now we've got THR 1-2 with Wiesemuller and Johnson. Daniel Blanco and Todd Lee, great battle for 3rd. Benjamin Lindstruser up. How is Lindstruser up to 5th? He started last for this race. Benjamin Lindstruser, who didn't race in race 2 and missed the reverse grid, now we're saying it's going to be a nightmare because he's at the back for this one. He's in 5th position. This is unbelievable.
Oh, Blanco lost control slightly, and now Ely's moved from the 3rd.
So Benjamin Lindstruser, how has he done that?
It also
This
looks
is
like
just
my
chaos.
prediction. It also looks
Brilliant
like my prediction.
race.
It also,
Yeah,
it also looks. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Johnson going on the inside.
Oh, but
no.
James Johnson. Oh, and Wiesemuller's run wide. And is James Johnson going to make a move in his teammate? Wiesemuller seems to have more pace, but not right now. Johnson's down the inside, Wiesemuller's holding down the outside. They're going side by side now. And James Johnson is taking the lead from Robert Wiesemuller. So, but Wiesemuller's still down the inside. Don't take each other out, guys. You're teammates. Don't forget it. And then Wiesemuller. So it looks like James Johnson has actually taken the lead now. Tommy Lee in 3rd. So the man who started from 10th position is up to there. And oh, Wiesemuller's off into the wall. Your prediction is wrong, Bradley. Wiesenmuller goes straight on at the chicane braking area, straight off into the runoff area, and all our leaders are cracking under pressure here. James Johnson now being hounded by Tom Ely, and Danny Blanco in third, right with them.
Oh,
Benjamin
Lindström
Lindström spun it, and Wiesenmuller comes back fast. This is absolute chaos.
God.
Someone spilled oil on the track.
Where's Tveit? Tveit's lost it.
Tveit's in 10th. This is unbelievable. All of these top guys, everyone who does well in the race and everyone who's high in the championship, having massive problems. This is a fantastic race so far. Chris Butcher is retired from the race. He's left the game.
Championship leader. Yeah, but
championship leader.
Luckily for Butcher, Tveit is not having a good race.
Yep. So have we got any other surprises
Oh,
up in the top 10?
That's Bogdan.
Bogdan and Rice Gardner.
Oh, and Elian. Sorry, I've got to go to Elian Johnson for the lead. Oh no, we got spinner. That's Van der Velde. Or was that Van der Venne? No,
it's Van der Velde. It's Van der Velde. Van der Venne are previous race leaders in 6th.
And Ely taking the lead from Johnson.
And Lee Palmer's out. Lee Palmer's out of the race. So our man who was quickest in practice, one of the quickest drivers in both races so far, getting some good results, and he's out of the race.
By the way, Tom Ely actually took the lead into turn 1. He just got a much better run through turn on the straight, and then he got the lead into turn 1. Ooh, so
Tveit's in the wall. Eric Tveit has just gone into the wall. He's managed to keep it going, and he hasn't lost too much time there. But that was a really big impact.
Yeah, but he's lost the position to his teammate Gary Lennon.
Oh, he was going down the inside of Reece Gardner, and he just went straight into the wall. Lost position to
I don't
Gary
even know
Lennon.
what positions. The contact. That's Bogdan. I don't even know what positions these guys are in.
Yeah, Tveit's in 9th, so he's not capitalising on Chris Butcher's retirement so far. And my voice is not taking the strain, as you just heard.
Oh, sorry, just looking further back, seeing if there's anything else. Ooh.
Oh, this is the most chaotic race I have ever seen in my life. It is absolutely fantastic. Matt Richards is out of the race, so he's in 18th. JJ Wang, another retirement. We might as well go through them. Although, no, JJ Wang's a lap down, but not out of the race in 19th. Chris Butcher, our championship leader, is out of the race. Lee Palmer, Palmer, who was fastest in practice, is also out of the race. Mike Bell is out of the race. David Nannen is also out of the race. So that's 2 of the 3 admins.
Well, Blanco, look at this. Who would have thought that Blanco would still be fighting for the lead? Well
he's fighting Johnson for 2nd.
Yeah.
So he's flying the flag for ERA. We've got David Nannen and Mike Bell out of the race, but Danny Blanco is trying to hold the flag up for them and do a good job. He's in 3rd position, so he's doing a fantastic job so far. He lost it from pole position, he lost a few positions, but he's right back in it, and he's putting the pressure on THR driver James Johnson. Tom Ely looks like he's going to run away with this, but we've seen it almost every leader so far crack under the pressure. So
I'm just going to look slightly further back, as there looks to be a few battles near 10th position. So we got Wiesenmuller, Lindström at 4th and 5th. Sorry. Which ADR?
Oh, Lennon's off. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, Lennon went straight on the braking, and Tveit's right outside. Completely. Yep. So, sorry, ADR. It's David Van der Venne in 6th after Van der Velde spun out earlier and is now in 13th ahead of Stephen Kelman, who's dropped back a bit to 14th, but it'll still be a good result. Should bring home a couple of points from that position, and he's got Alejandro Fernandez chasing him down. So,
Blanco!
Oh, and Johnson! Oh, we didn't expect to be seeing this. Danny Blanco, the independent, chasing down James Johnson for 2nd place, chasing down the top THR driver in this race. Robert Wiesenmuller in 4th after his problems earlier on. Lindström from the back of the grid is in 5th position. Reece Gardner in 7th.
Lindström would have been in this battle for 2nd if it wasn't for his spin after Wiesenmuller spun.
Yeah, so Lindström started from the back, had a spin, and he's 5th position.
Yeah,
and he's just absolutely incredible.
If he hadn't spun, he would have been in this battle for 2nd as Blanco goes down the inside. Johnson cuts him off, but that was very good defending there from
Oh, Johnson's hit the wall though, and Blanco's down the inside again because Johnson got into the wall, and they're side by side, and he makes more contact. Johnson into the wall again, but it's only light contact, so there'll be no damage. Blanco's down the inside, and Blanco has made the move, and Daniel Blanco, there's a bit of nudging and barging, and Daniel Blanco is up to 2nd position. He will be delighted with that. Can he fend off James Johnson now? He seemed to have good pace just there, but does James Johnson have anything to say about that? He does look like he does. He's staying right on his tail through this section, and now there's going to be another chicane, but Daniel Blanco, for the moment, has made the move stick and is up to 2nd place.
Yeah, brilliant drive from Blanco. This just shows you how important getting a good result in the in race 2 is, because these these midfield guys, or these guys that might be fighting maybe between 6th and 12th, suddenly they could be fighting for podium positions.
And actually, there's a good battle at the back here. Jonathan Ockercliffe, who started in the pits, has actually caught up to Kyle Young, although they've just made contact and Ockercliffe's lost about a second. But has caught up to Kyle Young and is battling for 16th position. So that's
Kyle
the
Young's
start.
run wide. Oh, Jonathan
more
nearly gets back
contact.
of him. I've got to say, Carl's had a very disappointing round. He's made tons of mistakes. He's really struggling into that corner.
Yeah.
What is it? Turn 9 and 10. That's still
He's been all over the
area.
place. But Tveit on Gardner now. Tveit's closed right in on Reece Gardner, and this is a championship moment. Tveit needs to capitalise on Chris Butcher's retirement. He needs to get as many points as he can.
Yeah, sorry,
And
we've
he's-
also got Lindruser. Lindruser caught up to the back of Wiesenmüller, but just watch this battle with...
Oh, and they're side by side. No,
Tveit.
Lindstruzer and Wiesenmüller are side by side. And
No,
Tveit's,
no, it's okay.
Tveit,
I've got to go to White.
yep,
Tveit's gonna
Tveit
run
on the outside
outside.
of Gardner. Not going to work.
But now
He's
he's
gonna
got
get the overlap.
going to the
Oh!
inside.
Loses the back end a little bit. And he's following Reece Gardner through this section. There's going to be a long straight into a tight right-hander. And it's going to be trail breaking. Can Eric Tveit make a dive down the inside? Gary Lennon. Oh, there's contact! Tveit spun it! Reece Gardner and Tveit. And that's... Oh, Tveit. What a save by Eric Tveit. A full 360 under braking round the turn. And he's lost only a second. And only lost one position. Eric, what are you doing to me here? You've got the championship to go and win. And this is just unbelievable. He was coming up behind Reece Gardner. As I said, they needed to be careful because of the trail breaking into the turn.
Oh.
Loses back. Oh, and Van der Venne, who was leading the race earlier on, is spun again. This is absolute chaos. Oh, and he's driving into the truck. Florian Callan loses it.
Oh!
Florian Callan
Blockage.
tried to correct from David Van der Venne, who spun in front of him. And oh my goodness, this race is fantastic. We got Danny Blanco pulling away from James Johnson in second. Wiesenmüller in fourth. THR were sitting first and second. They're now third and fourth. Tom Ely is pulling away with the lead here. And if Tom Ely keeps on going like this, he's going to be right back in the championship frame, because this will be his second win on the row if he can keep it together. And if he can't, it will be Danny Blanco
Yep.
who takes the lead of this race.
Ice Cold Racing are fighting. Eric Tveit is in the championship hunt. Gary Lennon, not necessarily in the championship hunt, or at least not compared to Eric Tveit. And Eric Tveit goes down the inside into turn 8. A nice move there.
And quite
Lennon
rightly,
gets a much
Lennon.
better run.
Oh, is Lennon going to try and make the cut? No, Lennon doing the good thing there, helping his teammate.
Yep.
Tveit was down the inside.
Normal.
They don't want to both crash.
Yeah, well, an Optimus Racing driver would have just dived down the inside there.
And rolled over. and rolled
No,
over.
that's
Sorry, that's my bell. And
oh God,
so-
Rob Lindruser!
and
Spun it.
he has. Lindstruzer has spun it, but there's a massive gap back to Reece Gardner, so it's not going to affect him too much. And Reece Gardner has actually had 2 fifth positions from the first 2 races, and he's now sitting in 6th. So if that's not consistency, I don't know what it is. But it looks like Tom Ely is romping away with this one. I think we've got 2 laps to go. This will not be the last lap.
I think there's going to be an extra lap after this.
Yeah, Danny Blanco, 2.5 seconds back, opened up a massive gap to James Johnson. So Daniel Blanco will be absolutely ecstatic with a 2nd place. Robert Wiesenmüller in 4th, and Wiesenmüller runs really wide, almost spins it. Mike Bell must have dropped oil on the track, doing a bit of Bernie Ecclestone there. But Benjamin Lindstruzer in 5th, Reece Gardner 6th, Eric Tveit 7th, Gary Lennon 8th. So Ice Cold Racing not taking as big as an advantage as they'd hoped, and Eric Tveit is giving me a heart attack in the process. He's almost, I think he had a spin earlier on,
Oh,
and
we got
a full 360 under braking.
We've got Fernandez and Kelman battling out for
This will be a
13th
great
position.
battle. These 2 guys have very similar pace in practice. 13th position. We might just keep our eye on this one because it's one of the closest battles on the field at the moment.
Yeah, well, just make sure that you're still seeing if Ely makes mistakes or anyone else like Tveit.
Yep,
Fernandez
I'll keep an
gets
eye
a
on
much
it.
better apex. Light up on the wall, but nothing too bad.
Yep, can he close in on Stephen Kelman? This is for Pride. There's not going to be too many points involved, but it's mainly for Pride. It's Ultimate Sim Racing versus Stephen Kelman and the Independent.
I was expecting like a team name there. Oh,
yeah,
and
well,
yeah,
Kelman Racing's his team name, but he's on his own in that team.
Ooh, that was very close to the wall. Bit too close.
Nothing happening up front at the moment. Everything's spread out. There's 20 seconds between 1st and 5th.
It's Tveit's.
Yep,
Tveit
Tveit is right. Oh, Tveit is right behind Reece Gardner. Actually, he's not going to be able to make a move into this turn, but he's gonna have a look anyway. But there's not much point in that. If he did do it, it would be a bit of a stupid dive. But he's not. He's more sensible than that. And Gary Lennon. Oh, Lennon to his teammate.
Oh, Lennon.
Oh, Gary Lennon. not what you'd expect from a man of his caliber. Tveit has got a big gap back to Karamadari Bogdan, so he will be fine. But
Yeah, he hasn't
Gary
lost it
Lennon
well.
spinning his teammate out, who was fighting for the championship and fighting for 6th position. Do you think Gary will let him back past?
No.
No. It's too early in the season for team orders. But Gary Lennon, setting his
And
authority in the team.
Where is Ely? Where is Ely on track?
Ely is coming through the chicane under the grandstand, coming into the final chicane. Tom Ely is going to make it 2 out of 3 for Zanavi Motorsport. Started last position.
I just noticed that it looks like Jonathan Walker-Klimp's got a problem. No idea what happened there. Just saw him really slow on track.
Yeah, but
yeah,
Tom Ely's coming around the final turn. And Tom Ely is going to win race 2, and he's now going to win race 3 at Singapore in one of the most exciting sim races I have ever seen. And Zanavi Racing have taken 2 wins from their first 3 events. Not necessarily the man you'd have expected it from. Lee Palmer qualified 2nd for the first race, looking very competitive.
Wait, what's happened to Blanco? Blanco's not finished 2nd, he's finished 3rd.
Oh, Blanco's spinning he's spun across the line.
Blanco's spun with 2 corners to go, he's lost 2nd position.
Oh, but he's still got a podium. It's not going to hurt him too much.
He's done a George Talbot, that's what happened to George Talbot on the final lap of the chicane.
And it's a shame I got punched, so no, I would have been there.
4th. 5th
Yep,
was
Wiesmuller 4th.
Lindhuser. 5th was Lindhuser.
Correct.
6th was Gardner. 7th? Oh no! What's this? Lennon!
Lennon's letting his teammate pass. That's a good. So wait a minute. So Bogdan ended up getting Tveit. Bogdan was a long way behind. Did Tveit make another mistake?
The Bogdan 7th. Eric Tveit's 8th. Lennon's 9th. So actually that hasn't helped the team. Van der Ven is 10th. Callin's 11th. Carter 12th. Kelman has beaten Fernandez to 13th.
Scoring his first points in his sim racing career.
Yeah, 15th is Van der Velde, as we just saw him spinning again, so it's been a disappointing race for him. He was involved in an opening lap shenanigan. 16th and 17th, Young and Orca-Klimp, they're still going on, so I don't know what happened to Orca-Klimp. Maybe he hit Young and then was letting him pass? I don't know.
Yeah, so not sure about that one. But so basically, we had Karamadari Bogdan a long way behind Tveit in 10th position on the last lap. Gary Lennon, we didn't expect him to let Tveit pass, but he slowed down on the line to let his teammate pass, and Bogdan was somehow ahead of Tveit. So, Ice Cold Racing really haven't done themselves any favours there.
Yeah, it's not helped the teams at all. It's helped Eric gain 1 position, that's it. But obviously that would have never happened if it wasn't for Gary Lennon spinning him.
Yeah, we're going to see if we can get any interviews with the drivers, and we're just waiting to see how that plans out.
I'm going to try and look at the replay.
I think I did put my bet on Tom Ely for that race after. Well, my first bet was on a man who retired in the first lap, it looks like. But I did put money on Tom Ely in that one, so that's 1 point for me. But Bradley always beats me in the predictions, so I'll take it when it comes.
Right, I'm trying to see what happened with Bogdan, Tveit, and Lennon.
Yep, that was a very interesting last lap.
If I can see what happened, then I'll show it on the broadcast.
Yep. Sorry if you're hearing my phone ringing there.
Ah, so Tveit has spun in the Tveit had he sort of lost control in the chicane before the grandstand, and then obviously at the end of it, Lennon slowed down for him.
Yeah, so Eric Tveit, our championship leader, trying to take advantage of Chris Butcher's problems in that race, spun 5 times in that one race. Incredible stuff, and he still managed to pick up a top 10. So that's very scary. Oh, it's probably the one word you'd use to explain that from Eric Tveit. But what about Tom Ely? Fantastic. Started last position in race 1, fought his way up to top 10, won the second race, and dominated the third. So a fantastic result for Tom Ely. As we're having some drivers coming down for interviews now, which we'll be able to speak to in a minute. Benjamin Lindstruzer from 24th to 5th position in that race, and yeah, just one of the most interesting sim races I have ever seen. That one.
Okay then, so we got a few drivers for interviews. So let's see who's here. I think let's talk to Robert Wiesemuller, who spun on the opening lap.
Of both races.
Well, let's just wait until... Yeah, so yeah, Wiesemuller spun on the opening lap in the first 2 races, and then while fighting for the lead in race 3, but you braked too late, and you dropped down the order, didn't you?
Yeah, I think you have some days where you just shouldn't race, and this was one of them. That's just awful all the way. I made so many mistakes, so many spins, and I don't know.
Blame Mike Bell
Ma-
for spilling oil on the track in the last race for that one.
But in the end, I was quite happy then in the last race that I at least got a fourth place because of everything that happened before. So
Well,
yeah. Anyway, it was fun as long as I stayed on track, and then yeah.
yeah. Do you think you could have got podium positions in race 1 and race 2 if it wasn't for the opening lap spins?
I was quite slow as well, so I'm not sure. Maybe I could have gotten in the second race a podium position. But I'm not
Okay.
sure. I was just not really informed today. So
Okay, so let's talk to race 3 pole position guy and Daniel Blanco. Well, same person, getting the podium in the final race, but well, you should have got second, shouldn't you, Daniel?
Yeah, I got a little sideways on the last lap and spun it, but that was probably one of the best races I've ever done. Actually, I want to thank James Johnson, I believe it was, who raced me the way he did. That was a great battle. First two races there, I kind of didn't really have as much pace, as much consistency, but I knew that I just had to do something with the gears and find my apex and stuff like that. So I was actually really happy that I got 10th position for race 3, and I thought I would have been able to try to hold them off, but I saw Tom get up there and they were battling like crazy up in front of me when I was up back there and forth. So Tom got there, and I knew he was gonna be fast too, but I was hearing in the background on the broadcast everyone in the lead was like spinning out, so I kind of hoped for that to happen at the end. But that was a great battle actually. That was probably one of the best E90 races I've probably ever had.
Yeah, well, at the moment in the second race, when you spun through the chicane from 10th, did you think it was all over, or did you just keep on pushing?
You mean turn 1 there?
Oh well, yeah. In the second race, when you lost it from 10th, did you think that was it, or did you reckon you still had a chance?
I remember that. Yeah, I first on the I think it was in race 2, right? I spun on the first lap. I thought I was toast until I saw everyone spin out again up ahead of me. So I was like, wow, I don't know what really happened. I just saw a car ground in front of me, and then after that, I remember I spun out in the same way I did in race 3 by hopping that little curb there. My car takes a funny bounce, spins out, but yeah, I did not think I'll get back for 10th. I wasn't 11th. I wasn't going to get 10th. Somebody was, I don't know, someone lost connection or something up ahead, but I got 10th, and I was kind of surprised, but I was really happy at the same time. I really thought I had a shot at that race, race 3, but that was freaking fun. That was cool.
The 10th place at second race was actually due to Matt Richards disconnecting due to a snowball hitting his house and disconnecting his internet. So that if that's not luck, I don't know what is.
I didn't even know he was up there. Great race, though. That was good stuff.
No, great job though, Daniel, getting that podium in the last race.
So, John, have you got any questions for anybody?
Well, I'd like to talk to, I'm trying to think, David van der Venne. You had a good start to the third race. You were leading at one point. So what happened? Was it the pressure got to you? Cold tires? What happened in that third race? Because you were sitting in a really good position.
This track is all about staying on track, and let's just take too much curbs on the inside, and car jumped and lost control. That's it. Yeah,
it happened to a lot of drivers, but you did a great job to get that high up in the qualifying to get that reverse grid. Is that for that second race? Did you at any point think you weren't going to get the reverse grid, or did you always we didn't really follow you too much, but we saw you having some good battles. Were you expecting to get that 10th position or the top 10? Or do you expect to be outside it?
That's just my goal to in the top 10. That's also good for me. So I'm happy with that.
So we'll see. Anyone? Is there anyone else you'd like to talk to, Bradley? Unfortunately, we don't have the Tom Ely in the server, which is a bit of a shame because winning 2 races did a fantastic job during the race. But yeah, it was fun. That third race especially was probably the best sim race I've ever seen, and definitely the best one I've ever commentated on. So that was a pleasure.
Yeah, it was great racing throughout the field. We throughout the whole of the race for third race, there was action all around, especially sort of around Eric's fight, as always.
That was incredible. How he managed not to put it in the wall after spinning about 5 times was just unbelievable. But that doesn't mean he'd win the championship lead. After Chris Butcher non-scoring, he would have taken 8 points from that final race. And it looks like that means he'll have a 7-point lead going into the third round, which will be at Thruxton, it looks like, which is a fantastic course, always provides amazing racing.
Yeah, so I think this just wraps up this broadcast. So I'd like to thank all the drivers, all the administration, John for commentating. Yeah, so it's bye from me.
Bye from me.